Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the podcast. I'm your co-host M2 Dave, and I'm here with my co-host Rio, as well as returning co-host Burrito Voorhees, aka King Jr. Say hi, guys.
Welcome,
What's
everybody.
up?
This is episode 41. Today, we're joined by a special guest, Wound Cowboy. If you guys are familiar with him, he was and probably the best Shinnok player in MKX and an amazing Shang Tsung player from MK9. Cowboy, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Yep.
Well, let's. The hot topic is still Final Kombat and its organization or lack thereof.
Lack thereof.
What is your take on all the drama and everything that Sonic Fox has been tweeting and certain other players? Where do you stand?
Well, I think it's pretty bad Sonic, I don't think has ever really tweeted something like that, at least that I've seen. Maybe, rarely. But yeah, if they're calling it out, then I think that is probably a really bad sign. It's just really disappointing, like, I don't know, first of all, like why it was in Mexico to begin with, because, yeah, unfortunately, you're more likely to run into those kind of problems where, like lack of sanitation, worse standards. But also, it's an American game, so I don't know what they were thinking in the first place doing it there. But even that aside, like you can't have the building, falling apart or have a lack of running water. It just doesn't make sense. Someone either didn't research enough or they trusted the wrong person. It's probably what happened.
Well, people are claiming that it was a matter of probably saving money in terms of, logistics and the
I
location.
suppose, yeah, I'm sure that's part of it.
So they did by they, I guess, WB didn't want to dish out a lot of money for this event, which kind of
Right. Well, not
shows
surprising,
you,
right?
shows you how much they care. So, and I'm with you. I feel bad for the players, because apparently, during a match between I think it was Sonic Fox and Connie Mani, the audio wasn't working, so they had them restart the match, which is just very, very strange. Like, why would you do that? At least let him finish. Let him finish the
Yeah,
game.
that's unforgivable. Like, I don't know what that person was thinking.
Yeah, and just to clarify with the audio issue, I think the audio was working for the players. It was for the stream. It wasn't
Right.
working. So they didn't stop the match because the players were having issues. They stopped it because the stream was having an issue. That's something I highly disagree with. Say what you want about Sonic. You don't have to be a fan of the player. But I don't think anybody should ever have their match stop when they're mid-set, full momentum, immersed. Because when you get snapped out of that, not everybody reacts the same. Some people that's going to tilt them and not make them want to play. And also, I agree with what Cowboy said earlier about Sonic Fox isn't known to complain. I agree with that, and for some reason, I was kind of getting blown up by a couple people in the comments. The last episode, people were saying like, "Rio, what are you talking about? Sonic always does this. He always complains, makes excuses."
Must
The
have been
thing
Tom's
is,
fans.
the thing is, I don't remember when I used to play, and I remember Sonic from MKX, Injustice, MK11, whatever. He was not the player that would lose and make excuses like, oh, I lost because the monitor was laggy, or I didn't eat that day. That's why this guy beat me. Didn't count. He really wasn't that. But apparently in MK12 now, there's been some issues. Like apparently he did this to someone before, so I don't know about it because I haven't been following MK1 like that. But I just know from what I remember, Sonic is not one of the players that has excuses every time he loses to someone. I just wanted to say that.
I agree. Yeah, sometimes maybe his fans do that, but like that's not something Sonic controls. So it's whatever.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I generally agree that Sonic Fox doesn't make excuses. That's another one. That's another player. But sorry, I have to say that. I think
Wait a
we all
minute.
know who it is.
What player? No, I actually don't. What player are you talking about?
Well, you already know what I'm talking about. I'll say it at the very end, but let me say this. But I think I told Tom, I think it's perfectly possible. Two things can be true at once. Sonic Fox, you know, was upset about what had happened, but at the same time, he could also be salty, right? About the fact that he lost, because he usually wins these events. I'm not saying that was the case, but I'm saying, it could have been. Uh, he usually wins these events, and um, maybe he was, he suspected that he would win again, which didn't obviously happen. Um, so again, I'm not saying he was salty, but it's not unreasonable to believe that he could have been. And again, despite what and he could also be salty about what like losing, and as well as what what happened, which was not his fault. So
Yeah, let me
um,
just say, reading from his tweets that day, it looked like he was getting annoyed by multiple things. So that was probably the final nail in the coffin that caused him to just be like, you know what, I'm done with the tournament. Because if you read his tweets during the day, he said he had an issue with the seating. Then, like, the tournament was ran, the venue was falling apart, all of that. And then on top of this, you have people stopping your set mid match to tell you, hey, man, the stream audio is not working, which, by the way, the stream audio wasn't working half the time anyway, but we're going to stop your set because we want to. Like, that just probably made Sonic just go like, screw this. But I'm not saying that's why he lost. Okay, I don't want people to think, oh, Rio's making excuses because Sonic lost because of all this. No, I think even with all that said, even though it was frustrating for him, he still got outplayed. At the end of the day, you can't take someone's accomplishment of beating whoever and winning a tournament and saying it didn't count because this happened here or there. Because in a way, most of the players there have to deal with all of these issues.
Right.
yeah, it kind of is what it is. It was arguably the last, the season for the game anyway. We already know they're working on the next project. There's supposed to be maybe one more patch for the game. I mean, Cowboy, you still play, right? Did you maybe follow it more than I do? If
Yeah.
I'm mistaken, please correct me if I'm
That's
wrong.
what they
but-
said. They said as much not long ago that we're not
Yeah,
done patching.
so there might be another patch. Why does that? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
there might be
real
another
quick,
patch.
before we get into the patch topic, can we have Franco chime in on the tournament and everything?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so like I pretty much what you guys said. I won't keep it too long because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, I agree. Like, they should not have interrupted the match for audio issues that were outside of their for the stream, like outside of their own gameplay. Interrupting mid-match, like not even in between rounds, is just like unacceptable. And I think it's just common sense, like just not to do that and wait however long it takes until the round ends. And it happened to both players. It happened to Sonic and Connie, and I don't know who was winning in the middle of the before the interruption happened. And I know PL said that he was originally Sonic was originally using Cyrax, but then after the interruption and they restarted, that Sonic went to Sector, I guess. And I know
Wow,
that
really? I didn't even know this.
Yeah. So I mean, it happened to both players. It just affected Sonic more, I guess. So you can't. I mean, I wouldn't really say it was a one-sided issue. Like it wasn't. It was an equal amount of issue to both players, and Connie just came out on top. But yeah, as far as the event being held there, and I think it should have been in America too, like Cowboy said, or somewhere in the U.S. I mean, and so that's just a upsetting finish for the game's legacy, in my opinion. It's just like it went out like instead of this HBO stream tournament that everybody was anticipating, it like had all these issues with production, and it was not the way I wanted MK1 to go out, unfortunately.
I heard HBO was pissed about this whole event and the issues that were happening.
Who said that?
From what I was reading in the comments, people said HBO was livid about it.
Interesting. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but surely
Yeah.
this can't be the last, big tournament for MK1. Because to have a tournament that's supposed to be, like kind of like the biggest thing that has all the best players around it competing in, to go out like that where the venue's falling apart, a million issues on stream, and then, all of the players feeling dissatisfied. What do you guys think about what the player who won the tournament? Now, I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know how true this is because sometimes people like to twist words around and do a little bit of hyping things up that maybe weren't said correctly. Because when you go from language to language, things may not be translated correctly. But from what I heard, and again, I'm not saying this is true, but apparently the player who won the tournament was saying on the mic that he doesn't even like the game. Dave, you speak
This is your
Spanish,
job.
right?
Translate it.
So
Yeah.
is that actually what happened, or is that just what people are saying?
I was listening to the clip. I believe this must have been, his speech after after he had won the tournament, referring to Scorpion Prox, he definitely said it has been translated accurately. He definitely said something to the extent, "I don't even like the game" or something like that. So, um, it's definitely true.
Wow, that to me is shocking because is this the first time ever at such a big event, not for FGC in general, but I mean, I'm talking for Mortal Kombat because I don't know, maybe this has happened before in other games, but for Mortal Kombat, where a big event, someone has a won, and on the mic they said they don't even like the game.
Yeah,
I
first
mean, I
time I've
do
heard of it.
recall. I do, if I may just say real quick, I do recall Ninja Killer signing up to events for MK11 and then not showing up or no showing the event. But he was. I mean, and then he would say stuff about the game, like, but not like on a like on a mic after winning the tournament. So I don't think it's unheard of, but honestly, I mean, people have different opinions about the game, about any
Yeah,
of the games
but
for that matter.
it's a
So
little crazy because Ed Boon was like right there next to him smiling. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if Ed Boon understands Spanish,
Probably
but it
doesn't
was
speak
just
Spanish.
it was
probably not.
hilarious to see that because Ed Boon's up there like, yeah, but he like doesn't understand what Scorpion Prox is actually saying. But the thing is, I don't understand. Like, how could you play a game, compete, win at it? He's obviously very good at the game, right? You could argue he's the best at the game and not like it.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like for you to be competing and playing in something, you have to like it somewhat. Because otherwise, it's just like, how does he even do that? Like, how can a player play and be so good at the game but not like it?
Well, I mean, I think all of you know, like, it's really not that uncommon. Even though that is like the first time it's been said, most people hate the game while they're playing it. I mean, obviously I can't speak for everyone, but that's pretty much how it always works. People hate the game despite competing in it.
That's true. I understand that. But the thing is, when I look at it, if someone's playing the game that they don't like and they dislike, I feel like they're at a huge disadvantage against playing other people that are really good and really like the game. So I'm just surprised that a player like
Well,
him who dislikes the game
definitely not him.
is skilled enough, even though he doesn't like the game, to beat other people who do like the game. You know, that's pretty talented to do that because it's not easy to play a game you don't like and be good at it.
I mean, Tom is usually wrong about this point, but he does have a point which is a great point. Like competing is very stressful. Like we all know this because we've all done it, right? So when you have to travel, you have to. He's a sponsored player, but when you have to take money out of your own pocket to pay, whatever the flight or Uber or whatever the case might be, right? And then you're competing in very high stressed environments and you're traveling and that's stressful and then you're waiting and then maybe your flight gets canceled. Like that's competing. It's all part of it. And when I was competing with MK9, doing all that stuff, it was stressful. I was nonstop complaining about the game. Did I hate the game? No, because obviously, but like it's the heat of the moment. It happens with sports as well, right? Why us fans? Oh, I don't like soccer anymore. I don't like football anymore because your team lost and you're salty. That's why. And I think this is kind of similar.
Yeah, no, Dave, I get what you're saying, but I think here it's a little different because even though you could say MK9 or MKX or whatever game, for the general most part, it's different than saying, hey, I don't like this game as a whole in general, compared to saying, yeah, MK9, I like it, but I don't like the armor, or I don't like the balance, specific things like that, or matchups or things that make you stressful. But from what it sounds, Scorpion Proc straight up just said he doesn't like the game in general. Like, it's not just one thing about it. Like, he just does not, he's not a fan of the game. So for it to be to that extent, and him even able to win and be this dominant, to me is like eye-opening.
I mean, I get what you mean. It
Yeah.
is a first, but I also am not that surprised. I would bet you a good portion of people in the top 8 would say they don't like the game. Like,
Why do you think that is? Why do you think is it is it related to the competition aspect that I was just talking about, or do you think people just don't like the cameo system? The usual.
I think it's both. I mean, like that's always going to be around, and yeah, I mean, this game definitely has some issues that make it less enjoyable, but I don't think it's that crazy.
Well, we wanna get your take in a second. Burrito Voorhees, why don't you? What do you think is happening here? Is it again? Is it the competition aspect, or is it the fact that many people just dislike the game for what it is?
I know there's some top players we did have for a little bit that like don't compete anymore. Like Combat's one of them. He doesn't really. He always refers a game as like being Mickey Mouse, Clubhouse kind of scrubby, I guess. Like,
That's
he
funny.
was one of our top players that isn't competing anymore. Ninja Killa kind of uses the same like language as he does. Like they're friends. I'm pretty sure.
Wow, I can't believe
And
Ninja Killa stopped playing. Also,
Hold on, that's bullshit. I'm gonna stop you right there. Those two both play. They play on Heidi's.
really?
well, yeah, actually, I did
100%.
I did forget that Ninja Killa does have Heidi's. He
Yeah,
does
he's
actually. He
multiple.
did post on his YouTube channel recently.
Wait. From
Yeah,
what I
and
heard, wait, hold on. This doesn't make any sense. 'Cause
but as far as
from what I heard a year
competing,
ago,
though, they don't.
from what I heard a year ago, someone said, I think it may have been you, Dave. I remember someone relayed this info to me. They were like, Ninja Killa doesn't like the game, he stopped playing it. But now you guys are saying he's on Heidi's, secretly playing the
Yeah,
game all the time.
100%.
What? What? It doesn't make any sense. If you don't like the game, why would you be secretly playing it all the time? That means you do like the game.
Yes, it does. It's this new thing.
It's
Sorry,
possible
go
he's
ahead.
just doing it for content. It's possible he's just doing it for content
Yeah.
views. For
That's
now,
true,
like,
actually. Yeah, that's a good point.
He did upload a set.
But yeah, he's not competing.
He did upload a set. I think just honestly, just yesterday. It was like it's
It was like
yeah.
temp number.
Yeah, and I don't know if he uses. I don't think he's using his regular name, but even I cannot confirm that. I have to go back and look. So
Yeah, they're full of it. They play the game.
I don't know.
Sorry,
I don't know
I
if
didn't mean
he's
to interrupt Franco. I want him to continue. I just wanted to say something real quick about Ninja Killa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they both don't like the game. Like like I said, they're not competing in it as far as I know. They're just making videos for it at most. Like, why would Ninja Killa sign up and then just no show for the events that he has like went in attendance for? Like I saw him at CEO and he only played in Tekken, which he did phenomenal in, which is awesome. I think he got like 20 something or something. But yeah, I think he registered for MK but just didn't play. Or he might not have registered for CEO specifically for Mortal Kombat, but either way, they're not competing. So I mean, they'll maybe make content, but not compete in it. And like Combat has put his criticisms in like videos of what he wants to see in the next game, and talked about what he dislikes about MK1 and stuff.
yeah, I think his complaints are more like based on the balance and you know, and certain characters that he dislikes fighting, like whether they're cameos as well. But I mean, is it really that uncommon? I mean, I played MK11. I highly disliked the game. You played MKX. It's safe to say it wasn't your favorite, right? So, and you traveled for it as well,
Right,
and you can say
but Dave, there's a huge difference between being sponsored and going to tournaments to play the game and shelling money out of your own pocket to play a game you actually don't like. Like you weren't. I don't think you were traveling for MK11 playing tournaments because you didn't like the game. I didn't go to any tournaments almost for MKX out of my own pocket. It was because I was either part of Yomi or whatever. Because I wasn't a fan of that game.
I know. I mean, look. At the end of the day, to an extent, we're all MK fans, right? And there are certain Mortal Kombat games that you prefer over others, and maybe there's a couple maybe you hate, right? Like I don't think I agree with Cowboy. I don't think this is like all that uncommon, like.
It is a bad look, I will say, to say that during our major.
Yeah,
Probably
of
not
course.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Bro, Ed Boon was right there smiling, man. He was smiling right there, like on camera.
That is really, it's like the smile and nod thing when you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, oh my god, that was hilarious.
So yeah,
but yeah, I'm not saying it to knock on Scorpion Prox. I'm just saying to me it's impressive because when I put myself in those shoes, dude, it's hard to be good at the game that you don't enjoy. Because during the match, all you're thinking about is, how you don't like this mechanic, how this is scrubby, how, wow, he hit me with that, really? Like, why does this game, so on. The cycle goes on in your head like that. So the fact that they're able to, like, put that aside, still bring their A game, win, compete, and do it consistently. It's not like they go to one tournament every 2 years, right? They're pretty established players right now that are competing a lot. It's more than one tournament that they're doing good at.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Well, Cowboy, what is your we'll talk about MK1 as well as MK11 because you also played that. But I'm going to start obviously with MK1 because it's the most recent one. What is your criticism of the game? Because I know you still play it, right?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I think. Well, I guess I'll kind of restate. Like, the game is just too offensive based. That's what I don't like about it. And it's not even like where okay, oh dang, I got hit. Now they're starting their offense because there's cameos in this game. I mean, a lot of characters essentially just get to start their shit for free. Like, and there's not much you can do about it other than just hope you defend correctly. So yeah, I'd say this game favors aggression way too much. Cameos, some of them just still like are head and shoulders above the rest. There's no real reason to use other ones. But yeah, I'd say that's kind of the main thing. Offense is too rewarding, too good. Cameos just I don't think work the way they wanted them to. I think they wanted cameos to offer different things, but what it's really come down to is that there's just a few that are just always good. So some balancing issues, just some mechanic things. It's not to say again, I still play it, but it's just not as good as it could have been. I feel that's just my take on it.
Yeah. Can you maybe go into the specifics? Like, is there certain
Sure.
characters like you think, oh my god, the offense, I don't like this stuff.
Oh, in terms of balance, like yeah, Homelander, I don't understand how this character is just continued to allow it to exist. I mean, we've seen him literally at every tournament since he's been released, up to now, right, including this latest Final Kombat. I don't get why they just refuse to nerf him.
Apparently,
doesn't
people
make
said
sense.
there were Homelander mirrors at this Final Kombat.
There were some, yeah, and of course, it was won by Havoc, who's also dumb. They at least tried to nerf him though.
Yeah, he was.
Uh,
Yeah, he was nerfed.
yeah, I just feel like yeah, you guys have kind of, from what I've heard in the past, touched on some of this, but there needs to just be more variety because really, it's just offense. That's it. Even a character like Sector, like I think Dave, you said this last time. Like she isn't really good because of her zoning. It's because of the armor. Zoning you could get around. It's just that she has an armored launcher, which is yeah, I guess kind of defensive and unoffensive, but there just isn't enough. There needs to be more, I think, rewarding play styles than just offense. The
Well,
issue is though that people will only ever say that they want offense, which is probably why the game is how it is.
yeah.
This is why
Well,
I'm not trying to, spill more spilled milk here, but I always blame MKX for starting so many issues with NRS games. MKX is a game that started everything just being offense, offense, offense. Also, is a game that started one of the worst ideas ever created, the variation system, and then now we have the variation system or fragments of it shoved into every future NRS game. Look, through MKX, MK11, and now the cameo system here, they're all versions of the variation system. I think they just need to retire that and please put it to rest. If we want to play variation games, we'll play MKX or whatever, but can we please not have that in MK13? Like, it just needs to go.
Well, they did stop using variations, right? I mean, even though I guess cameos are sort of similar.
Basically what cameo is, it's a pool of variations that anybody now can choose from. Instead of it being, everyone has their unique pool of 3. Now everyone has a pool of like 20 variations that you're able to choose from. So in a way, it's like they keep trying to harp on this gimmick of variations, but trying to change it around, tweak it every game. I think they just need to retire that and put it to rest.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer straight up 1v1s personally.
And the thing is, like, this could be a good game mode that they can have, like for casuals and stuff, like the cameo stuff. It's not that it's like really bad. It's just competitively as a game, it's unenjoyable. But to have something like that as like a bonus mode that you can play, like if I'm a casual and I want to play the cameo mode or I want to play the variation mode from MKX, things like that. Okay, they can have that. But why is it forced in like the tournament standard and the way the entire game plays from the ground up? It shouldn't be like that. It should be a way how MK9 had, regular combat, and then if you wanted for people, they could play tag combat, which was 2v2 and had all different stuff. I don't understand why NRS can't just do that going future. They want to make gimmick modes or stuff like this. They can do that, but just keep it separate modes. So that way people that want to play that can do that. But the people that want to play an actual good competitive game, travel for and compete in and money, they should have a better quality game to play.
Yeah.
Well, this is, I think, when all the disagreements will begin. I think I don't mind Zoing being worse. I understand it's like that in pretty much all modern fighting games, including Street Fighter. And defense is also worse in Tekken. But if you're going to nerf zoning and to an extent defense, then you need, at least in Mortal Kombat, right? You need to compensate with something, and I think they're doing it with armor, right? They're doing it with maybe recently some invincibility, as a wake up attack. So if you're gonna make projectiles worse, in which they really are, they're generally worse than they were in MK11, then you need to have some type of armor. Like all the good zoning characters in this game, the runaway characters, they all have good armor. Now, obviously, I support that because it allows me to play the game that I want to play, and I understand a lot of people get frustrated, because of the armor. But it's just like, unless you want to have a game that's just literally like, nose to nose, all offense, all 50-50, all hard to unblockable, all pressure, well, then you need to have some type of defense. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, that has been armor in most of NRS games.
You want to
Yeah,
know why
I mean-
defense? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was
Oh,
going to say
okay,
you
yeah.
want.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say you want to know why defense is done so badly in NRS games because what you said, Dave, the armor. The armor needs to seriously get looked at and either be tossed to the side and discarded or turned into like a unique mechanic that only some characters use because there's so many defensive stuff they can have in a fighting game, but they choose to have the laziest cop out, which is armor. Armor is such like a terrible way to do defense. Instead of having 10 different ways to incorporate defense into the game, they're like, let's put it all under this armor umbrella and just tack it on. And then this is the excuse they have as to why they can't make defense too good at because they'll just be like, well, you have armor. Oh, that's too oppressive? Just armor out. Oh, you have trouble answering? Just armor. Oh, you can't do anything on wake up? Try to armor. It's like, no, that needs to stop.
No. I mean, there's different ways you could do it. My main issue is like I wish they would just lean into the design. Like if they want the game to be based around offense, I don't get why they make defensive characters. It just doesn't, like, and I know like, he's done a little bit better recently, but characters like Shang, Tanya, Quan, and some other ones to a lesser extent, like they just can't play the game the way it's meant to be played. So I don't get if you're going to do, okay, balls to the wall offense, then everyone, that is actually one thing, and I've said this, that I think MKX did kind of well, is that like everyone pretty much had a 50-50. So, worst comes to worst, even if you're getting out footsied, or you have a chance to come back. In this game, though, and really to an extent, MK11, like they've just kind of blessed some characters with really really strong offense, and then they're always the best ones. So I wish they would either lean into the design or just make zoning better, and that would give us a lot more like interesting matches, I feel.
And to be fair, the zoning designs in the past have not been. I'm gonna be nice. Have not been original. Have not been efficient in terms of like if whether you're a player or a spectator. We got characters like Deathshot, Deathstroke, to a lesser extent Doctor Fate. Just kind of like do one thing over and over and over and over again. And I want to see something unique. I want to see, like give me like a mid-range zoner. Like I don't understand why Rain, for example, couldn't have been that. Like something like Street Fighter 5, Poison. I do think JP is also well designed in Street Fighter 6. Falk from Street Fighter 5. Just like interesting stuff that's interesting to watch as well as play. And I do think you still you can have strong zoning because you probably have to, the ratio between even within the zoning, you're like, how much do they zone, how much do they rush down, how much do they play footsies, but that also has to be on point. But instead we got pews, and stuff like that, and then they nerfed it, and those characters just essentially become useless. It's just like how many times have we seen that formula?
It's because NRS, they have some good ideas in past games with some character designs, and they just kind of just take what was good or bad about the last game and then try to make a new game around countering or making sure things are set that kind of make it so whatever was oppressive in the last game, like, going from MK11, there's way too much defense, this and that. Now they have to make it so there's a lot of that stripped away. Now it's less, so it's easier to do that. But the thing is,
I mean, maybe we can't get into this now. I don't agree with MK11 being defensive, but we can save that if you want.
Really? Okay, actually, yeah, we can do that topic after what I want to say, after we have Franco chime in, because that's an interesting topic. No. But what I want to say is they've had some interesting zoning design characters in the past. Do you remember Martian Manhunter? Now, before people go like, wait a minute, that is the worst example ever. I'm not talking about the character in general with his dumb teleport and all that. I'm just talking about if you were to take his zoning alone, take his zoning from his orbs to his pillars to all that stuff, his sky shot, and add it to a new character without the brain dead teleport and without all the brain dead stuff, then you can have an interesting zoning character that puts orbs, has pillars, has sky. Like you can do some really cool stuff. Even you had some past characters like Lex, who in a weird way, I know he wasn't really a zoner, but in some matches where you had to get to him, he had some interesting. It was like he had this this course you had to go through just to get to him. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's sad that like things like this that could work, that could be attached and build a zoning character from the ground up and made unique for that character is just forgotten, and they kind of push it aside and never go back to some of these ideas. I don't know why NRS does that every time. They like to reinvent the wheel, and then when they do bring a zoning character, whatever it is, it's usually a super simplified zoning with just 50-50s. Like I don't understand.
No.
King Jr., what do you think? What do you stand on this topic?
As far as like the hyper offense and rush down really being like the only archetype, like, I really agree with that. I do want to play like in other ways besides rush down, as fun as like, grapplers can be for me, or like 50-50 characters. Even like block pressure characters aren't too prevalent anymore like they used to be in the past games. Like, other than like Johnny, there's not too many like plus frames on most characters' kits. So, I would like to see more archetypes back. And I think one of my favorite design zoner, kind of like what Rio was saying, like not the character as a whole, but like MKX Quan Chi will be my example. Like, aside from the launching 50-50s off of like pre-patch back 2 or post-patch forward 4 and his low, like his ruin, his bat from Summoner, the skulls he had, like I thought that was like a cool concept of zoning, because when you got in on him, he had the worst defense in the game. I think he was pretty well balanced outside of his up close 50-50s. Now, relative to MKX, he did need those 50-50s because of his horrible defense. But in the future games, I would like to see like a balanced zoner with like some aspects of like MKX Quan Chi. Like, he didn't have like just a one size fits all projectile, or you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to kind of reiterate the fact that I think a lot of people misunderstand archetypes. They think, a zoner can only zone and that's it. Yeah, the bad zoning characters. Like, there's no such thing as you can only do one thing.
Right.
People will not believe me. If I ask somebody like who knows fighting games, at least somewhat, only maybe somewhat knows them, and I ask the person who was the first dive kick character fighting games in a fighting game, people will say, oh, maybe I don't know, some anime game or whatever. It was Dhalsim from Super Turbo. He was the original character with a dive kick, and the dive kick was so strong for pressure as well as an anti-fireball tool, to the extent that he was obviously a zoner in most matchups, but his offense was also formidable, and he also had the longest range for a regular throw. In fact, I believe that his regular throw had more range than T-Hawk's command throw. So, and of course, he was one of the best characters because of that. And even in Street Fighter V, in which he ended up being top tier, he had some really strong offense. His instant aerial flame was plus on block, so he could kind of use it as a shimmy and or even in certain anti-air situations. So, and Freddy, the same thing, right? Freddy had a 50-50. And then you had like Cyborg in Justice 1 who couldn't really do anything except zone, and he was one of the worst characters in the game. So I just want people to understand that there's no such thing, you only do this, right? Back, or just a quick example, in Justice 1, right? Not only is she a 50-50 Vortex character, she has some of the best, like, quote-unquote, aerial footsies, right? Because you just can't anti-air her. And she also has a teleport that on whiff literally has no recovery, right? So she has great mobility, annoying jumping attacks. You cannot anti-air, which kind of like translate to like, good footsies. And obviously the best Vortex in the game. So that's what makes her top tier, arguably the best character in the game. If you remove one of those things from the equation, she drops down dramatically. What do you guys think? Am I off about this? I think that's really
You're right. I mean, I think my character in MKX is a great example of that. Like, I was beating people with Shinnok not because of his zoning. It was because I had access to offense, If this were a modern NRS game, I guarantee you Shinnok would not have had a 50-50. I mean, he probably just would have been bad. Like,
Sinestro as well, right?
Sinestro as well. The same thing. In fact, you can kind of see, and I didn't play Injustice 2 very much, but to me, like, Dr. Fate is essentially just a nerf Sinestro in a lot of ways. Like, he just doesn't have any offense. He zones, and that's pretty much all he does. So yeah, I think it's important for characters to be versatile. And there's there's trade-offs to that too. Like, Shinnok had a 50-50, but it was pretty low damage. One of the options was punishable, which I thought, kind of evened out since he had good zoning. Whereas other offensive characters in MKS could really just tear you up if they got in. So
Rio,
yeah, I
yeah.
agree, Dave. That a good zoning character has zoning, but they have more too. It's not just one thing.
Rio, what do you stand on this topic?
In terms of what makes a zoner good,
No, just in general, I don't believe there's such thing as like a pure archetype, right? It's they're mostly characters, who have like do one thing very well, and then they probably have a couple of other decent or solid tools.
I'd say it really depends how you design them. Like there's some characters you could make, like if you want to be like a pure zoner, by just giving them a bunch of zoning stuff and their only condition is to literally keep you away and do whatever they're doing to chip you or kill you that way. But yeah, the way NRS usually does it is there's less of there being pure zoners do everything regarding zoning, but then they have, like you guys mentioned earlier, they either have good offense or 50-50s or some kind of oppressive move that allows them to go forward and challenge you with something. So yeah, that's usually how NRS does it.
King Jr., what do you think?
So I know me and you have had this conversation before, and at first, like I was kind of like, well, if you made the zoner strong enough or whatever other archetype strong enough in their gameplay, you could probably make that happen. But when you say stuff like sectors, I didn't think sector zoning was strong, but to other people that might think that sector zoning is strong, specifically just based off her projectiles, I agree that's not true. She's strong because of her armor. By the time you get in Hunter projectiles, like her projectiles isn't what's winning her game, it's her armor. So yeah, I mostly agree. Like you can't really. Usually, I would say you can't have like a strict one type of archetype only, like in a character's kit, and have it like be successful. Like they do need some type of variety in their kit. Like maybe they need like a overhead that's unreactable, that's like just a knockdown or something to throw in with their throws, or like if you do get in on them, or maybe they have like some other redeeming factors that aren't just like the zoning or whatever other archetype they're representing.
No, exactly. Let's move on. I actually want to talk, just to kind of give context, and I'll let Rio and Cowboy talk about this topic. So when Cowboy was watching one of our previous episodes, I think he kind of got triggered because Rio was up playing the zoning in MK11 and up playing the defense in MK11, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, you can talk to him about that. So, what's your issue with MK11 in how Rio describes the meta in the game?
I just think if you look, like, I don't think the meta in that game is really defensive at all. You have the top characters, right? Fujin, Jackie, Kodal, Cabal, and a couple others. Like, they're all offense. Like, the best characters in that game are all based around offense. Like, and Cetrion was a good character. She was probably the one who I'd say, like, yeah, she can do that. But in my opinion, she was better because of her offense, right? She was very good at checking pokes, staggering pressure. And honestly, like towards the end of the game's life, she just completely disappeared. Like nobody used Cetrion. It doesn't mean I think she's bad, but clearly the meta shifted towards offense. I think maybe that was true at the very beginning, but even then, it was really only her. Like if you look at the other zoning characters in that game, they're I think pretty bad. Like Shang, RoboCop, Scarlet, Katana was whatever. Like, yeah, I don't think zoning is good. Now, it is true, I guess, that if we're talking strictly just defensive options, like yeah, wake up roll and shit was good. But in terms of zoning, no, that game is offense. That to me was the first NRS game where they really like tried to like limit zoning. Other than Cetrion. Just my take, though.
Yeah, what do you think?
So regarding MK11, I'd say the last patch, you're correct. The last patch did kind of, I guess you could say, fix up a lot of zoning. But every version before that, there was always a really good zoning character, and zoning was a huge part of the game. But
Who, though?
yeah, well, I mean, name a version. Like which one?
I don't think a zoner was good in any version of that game other than Cetrion.
Well, hold on. Wait. In the beginning, like I'm talking day 1 to like day 90, like the early days, Geras had really good zoning. Cetrion was absurd. You could never catch that character. She literally like A2'd a bunch of characters. Her weight teleport costing 1 bar, having 0 recovery, that was a joke.
It actually cost no bars, I think.
Did it?
At the
I thought it
beginning.
cost just 1 bar, but it didn't matter because she got it back so
Right.
quick, and it had like no recovery. So it's like, what is this?
That was
Felt
dumb.
like I was
I
though.
think
playing
it
against
was
a
one
Mugen.
bar.
Yeah, it was like a no, but the thing is, like, not only could she do it on the ground, she could also do it in the air. So like, it was so hard to react to, and it recovered so quickly that it might as well just been safe. Like the character just was horrendous to play against. And then Geras, who they nerfed repeatedly. I don't know why they nerfed the zoning. She probably should have kept his runaway, but before, I remember when Geras could backdash like crazy, like get like a mile on you when you were trying to chase him. And his sand trap used to recover a lot quicker. They remember when they nerfed it, so it was more recovery on whiff, more recovery on block, and all that. And I think it was specifically because there was one Geras player, we all know who it is, it's Gur, who is playing Geras in like such a good defensive way that a lot of people were like, wait a minute, isn't Geras supposed to be this like come in combo command grab character? What is this? You're seeing Gur at top 8s just laming people out, running away, and they just were struggling to catch him because the movement was so good. So they nerfed that. Then, Aaron Black had really good zoning. He was also one of the better zoners. When his acid was really good, when his rifle was a little bit better, when his scud shot was absurd. So they toned him periodically over the patches. Cassie was very good at one point. She could run away. Hard to catch her because she had that back forward 4 up glow kick into down that like it was instantly recovered on whiff, so you had to chase her, and her frames were better on forward 4, and she was usually just running away and pestering you with low shots. Then you had Johnny that one period that was obnoxious with his fireball that made Setron players cry like crazy to get that nerf. So that got nerfed after a few months. And then, of course, Dave was the one that showed me how crazy Highborn was the first year of the game. I was blocking more projectile against her than I was blocking against Freddy in MK9. I was like, holy, like this character makes you block a lot of projectiles. And then sadly she got taken out of the meta. And then even Shang Tsung at one point was pretty good with zoning. Remember how good his corpse drop was? His ground eruption, they used to do a lot of damage. They nerfed. Now, am I saying Shang needed all these nerfs where they literally had to nerf corpse drop damage? They had to nuke his. What was that variation where he would drop the corpse drop, then you have to like wait a second because he may explode it, and they used to do a lot of damage? They nerfed that too.
You can always do that.
He could always do that? I thought that was just a variation move. But yeah, that
Well, there's
I remember
one that
that
launches, but it's more insane.
Yeah, that was the one, but that one used to be really good. He used to do a lot of
I think
damage.
that was before variations were in the game, though. Like, I don't think he had access to that move. Like, that was before customs.
Yeah, I remember like playing against that, and that was like really good because the damage he got off that was, and then his ground eruption used to use a lot of damage too. I believe they nerfed that like multiple times.
Significantly.
So Shang was, I would say, was a solid zoner before he got all these nerfs and stuff. And then of course he had Jade. And then, but the thing is, the last patch, kind of all the zoners had their time where they were good for a version, and then they got stripped down. And then, like Cowboy mentioned, who were the last characters standing? Well, you had Fujin, who's not a zoner. You had Jackie, who's not a zoner. You had Cabal's not a zoner. You had Joker, who's not a zoner. And the only character that was top 10 at the end that you could argue was a zoner was Sucheon. But a lot of people kind of stopped playing it because it's like, why work hard to try to keep people away, play so good in footsies, get 20% when you make reads, when you could just play Cabal, Jackie, Fujin, Joker, whatever, and jump around, mash, and get 50% combos. You know, it's just the former so much easier to do.
Too, I mean, I would take issue with some of those characters you classified as zoners because I don't necessarily think that they are. But even aside from that, like in general, I'd say defensive play, and Dave, maybe you could agree with this. Defensive play and zoning gets weaker as the game gets older because people just get better against it. Like towards the end of MK11, when I was playing like online or ranked or whatever, I swear to God, like the corpse drop got flawless blocked almost every time. Like it essentially just didn't do anything. So people would get stronger, right? But that's of course after like the crybabies early on have left.
Yeah, I agree with that. Over time, zoning, people learn how to fight with it. That's why I think NRS needs to be careful how they nerf a lot of these characters in the beginning. When a game has a really strong mechanic like flawless block, probably shouldn't be toning projectiles like that in a game when a lot of them like on near 2 are going to be getting flawless block constantly.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, even Aaron, who you could classify Aaron Black, was probably rush down aggressive. His zoning was really good though in a lot of matchups. Like the stuff he could do and lame you out and keep it, like it was good. Even though they nerfed all that, I would still classify him like he still had, even though he wasn't a zoner, I kind of classify him like if you think of Predator from MKX, like Hishiki-ten or Tanya or whatever. Even though I don't consider them to be zoners, they still had strong elements of zoning in the game that was there, you know, you have to deal with.
Right.
So I still
Aaron's a weird character. I honestly wouldn't even know how to classify that dude in MK11. It's
He was
very
like a jack
strange.
of all trades, but his keep away was so powerful, especially in the first year. His acid used to melt your life bar. A lot of people would usually sometimes end up having to wake up roll to get out of it, and they would just die
Mhm.
because they didn't want to sit there and take the 6% extra chip to have me
Sure.
walk up and chip them. Like they just wanted to roll, and they would usually die to that. And then his rifle used to be so good, and his scud shot was absurd. The way it would come back quickly, regen meter, and you could counter projectiles. And then it was a mid that they couldn't move against. So yeah, the character you could play him pretty lame in a lot of matchups and just annoy the hell out of people with zoning, even though he wasn't technically a zoning character.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. It's more conditional. Like, and he could run out of bullets. I remember that would happen. It was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, and I don't know
Then
why
you
they
don't have
ever
a good way to
changed his.
reload it.
Yeah, and then for some reason they decided to nerf his rifle combos and make it so reloading was more annoying and changed inputs. I don't know why. Who was asking for that? If they wanted to nerf Aaron, all they had to do was nerf the brain dead stuff. Like, should Scud Shot recover as quick as it did? No, because he had another variation called Rattlesnake variation that had cancels, but
Right.
there was no reason to pick that because if you do meterless Scud Shot, cancels recover so quick that it has the same frame data as Rattlesnake, which you're using a bar out of his slide cancel. So it's like, what is the point of this? Why would I ever use the variation where I have less zoning, but now I have to use a bar to do cancels I can do for free and with Scud Shot? Like, the balance was
Yeah.
all over the place with the variations. It made no sense.
No, it's-
Well, yeah, I would reinforce Katana as Rio mentioned, and I think that kind of goes to our previous conversation about you had a character who was really strong, like up close, and also had very strong zoning, right, because of the razors.
sure.
But the way you could use razors, obviously, even outside of strengths, was you could use it on wake up. Like if somebody's on the ground, use it like as an Oki tool. So if they forward roll, they get hit. If they back roll, you still kind of win. If they jump, they get hit. What can they do? Well, they can just do up three essentially, right? And it's very easy to deal with the wake up system that way. It was a good anti-air tool, especially like against Shiva's. When she was very strong, against the stomp because it would hit her. It was good against teleporters because if Scorpion teleports and you do that, then it covers you on the other side. So it was a move, obviously mostly offensive, but it could also be used defensively and again and against teleporters. So that's why I really like the move. And of course, once they nerfed that, they made it cost bars. Essentially, she dropped like easy, like 2 tiers, and you probably you never saw her again. But that's part of my problem with Mortal Kombat 11. Why I despise the game. It's like I don't like just nerfs. I think nerfs almost always make a game very boring. Sometimes they are needed, no question. But that's a great example in which a lot of characters just got screwed, man. They just got demolished, and they were never seen in a tournament ever again. And I think Kitana is one of them. Besides, Hyper wasn't even used all that much anyway. Even when she was
Oh,
strong.
here we go.
It was
Katana.
just like you and I think one other person because I remember before Dave. I remember when Dave was like, "Yo, you got to play me. My zoning's good." I'm like, "You're zoning, bro." First of all, I play her in black. What zoning? Second of all, I was like, I played katanas in Combat League, Dave. Like, I don't think you're going to show me something, but Dave actually shut me up because when I played him, I'm like, okay, first of all, he wasn't playing the variations other katanas were playing. He was playing the one where you don't do combos at all. The one that people are attracted to. Usually, when you see a variation that doesn't have combos, yeah, they're like, I'm not going to play that. I want to do the hype combos, but. Dude, the way they was zoning with Kyborn, it was and I was playing pre-patch like Broken Aaron. These matches were competitive. Like, it was not easy. And there was some stuff I couldn't Scud Shot, like his Psy from above, and then he could cancel it, do mind games. And if you block the Psy from above, it's chip, and then he's like plus 30. And then is he going to do fan? Is he going to meter burn it? Is he going to come in? I'm trying to advance. Oh, he may do random dancing fan. I run into it. Now he's plus. I can't ever use breakaway against Katana because the way she plays is differently. But yeah, and also I want to say, Dave, you mentioned Shiva. At one point, she had really good zoning, but they also nuked that. Do you guys remember her dragon stance, whatever? When Foxy was laming people out like crazy? Dude, that was pretty good, the zoning on that. I remember watching when Fox streamed, he was just chipping people out like crazy and recovered so quickly. He could do cancels and do it. And that instantly, it's funny how they nerfed that first before they got to the teleport. That's how you know that they're not trying to stand for any zoning. When something like that gets nerfed faster than a brain dead down up teleport stomp, then I don't know what else I can tell you. But yeah, but then you also had other zoners. I'm starting to remember now the more I think of MK11. Remember Sindel? She was also a good zoner. Yes, she had half stream 50-50s, but her game, yeah, but like her whole game plan was kind of to make you play her game and goad her. Like she had the low fireball. She had that weird summon air thing that would chip you out, which I don't know how many times I saw. What was his name? It was like OD. Was it OD Atai? No, OD Auto. Yes. Oh my god, I saw so many of those weekly tournaments being run where he would beat people doing that like air summon move that would chip you out, and the way he played was kind of like lame and zoning out. It wasn't the way you would see a typical zoner play, because he used a lot of forward 4 up 3 to keep people to like wall people out, low fireball to get them to play his game. When they would approach and block, he would 50-50 them. So I would say, honestly, the only good zoners left at the end of the game at like the bottom of top 10 were like Cetron was the best out of them, and then you had Sindel, and then you had Jade. You could argue she was the bottom of top 10. And maybe Robocop was like around that range too. But aside from that, yeah, the meta at the last patch was a lot of the top tiers just were more about trying to get you to do anything and then punishing you heavily, or getting you to the corner, mixing you, or getting any hit and being oppressive with jumping with Cabal, Jackie, and then suffocating you with offense. It's just how the game sadly ended up getting patched.
Yeah, I mean, we can agree to disagree on that. I think Sindel was not a good character in that game. She didn't have a 50-50. That was online shit. You could react to that offline.
Yeah, well, I don't mean
to blow him up. But like, he went offline and got bodied. Like,
no, I don't want to sound like Sindel was like a Sub-Zero 50-50, but I mean, she had a way where you had to kind of be focusing, because at any time she had her, like, what was it, like one fourth screen low and 1/4 screen overhead, so you kind of had to be paying attention, because she would hit you if you weren't. But her 4-4-3 was really good though. It was one of the best keep out strings. Like, that move would make you it was very good at walling people out. Like, it was like almost Citrian style.
And she was Cetrion.
Yeah, if you remember which string I'm talking about, it was the forward up 3.
Yeah, I know, it's those kicks, right?
Yeah, it would put her like half screen away from you and do like decent chip, and it was not bad. Like, it was one of the better keep out strings.
Yeah.
Honestly.
The problem with the way the game is designed, like, because of the wake up system.
Yeah, but wait, real quick, I want to say, because Cowboy feels like some of these zoners weren't in top 10. Why do you feel that way? Because so many of the characters got nuked and nerfed. Like, Aaron became like that character was not good. He was like at the best, like maybe mid tier. All these other characters got nerfed like crazy. Like, who else? Like Cassie. Sorry, she got deleted basically. Katana. I mean, like, if these characters, if Jade, Sindel, and Citron were in top 10, and who the hell were better than them? Because a lot of characters were just not good in the last version. Like, a lot of them got nerfed. Like Johnny and all them, they just got castrated.
I mean, I don't even remember the full roster at this point, but yeah, I just don't think that they were anywhere near the level of like being able to compete with good characters. Maybe even like Jade, who I thought was okay. I wouldn't even know that necessarily call her a zoner. She's more just kind of mid-range footsies, 'cause she has that really good string. I guess she could probably zone some characters. But...
Yeah, she's like Sindel kind of, but more with an air projectile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just thought they were very underwhelming, personally. Like, again, Sindel was, I think, definitely helped by online. RoboCop was okay, but again, I think he just gets deleted by a lot of characters. He was probably, other than Cetron, he was probably the best zoner.
Yeah, well, the problem is these zoners they weren't equipped to fight who the S tier were at the end. Like, I'm sorry, we're not going to be keeping out Fujin. First of all, Fujin out footsies most of these characters will have screen levels anyway. Jackie, Cabal, Joker. Joker can go footsies with even Cetron, and he does twice her damn. When Cetron outplays Joker in footsie, she's getting 20. When Joker does it, he's getting 45, and now we're going to the corner. And you better hope Joker doesn't put you in the corner, because that character is very difficult to get out. Like, he's very oppressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Cowboy, I had my little period where when I went back to MK11, I kind of played it for like 2 weeks, and
crazy to me. Yeah. You say you hate it.
I know, and I'm like, let me give this game a second look, and dude, playing RoboCop.
Dave, you were telling me, it was funny because Dave was telling me how much he didn't realize how dumb Sub-Zero was. Sub-Zero is probably the best he's ever been in MKX. Definitely top 10.
Let me comment on RoboCop first, so we can talk about Sub-Zero as well. Dude, some of those matches, RoboCop, they're just completely ridiculous. I mean, fighting like Cabal, Fujin. Get the hell out of here! I'm not playing that fucking game. Like, dude, there's not.
Jackie.
There's like all these characters like jumping like monkeys. Just how do I stop them? Like, I have a low gunshot.
You have the air charge.
I do, but
that's the best way to keep them out.
Yeah,
RoboCop does no damage. Like,
well, see, that's the problem. When Cabal's hitting you, he's taking almost 50, and guess what? You're never going to break away against Cabal. RoboCop hits you, he's doing like 20. The problem is a lot of the damage is very skewed. Like, the damage on like the top tiers are all not like Fujin, Jackie, Cabal, Joker, they're all hitting like for so hard off every hit. A lot of the other characters didn't have the damage to compete with them, and a lot of characters who used to do damage like that got toned down.
Right.
So just again, it was just bad balancing. I don't know how Fujin didn't get nerfed last patch when a lot of us.
I have no idea.
Maybe not a lot of us, but I remember I was saying Fujin's really dumb. Like this character is a problem. He has half screen MKX normals. Like I don't know how people don't see this. And then people were like showing clips. Oh my god, guys, look, Shiva's killing Fujin. Don't you guys feel bad for Fujin? I'm like, no, I don't feel bad for Fujin players. That character's also stupid. Like, you guys remember that when they were showing clips of Fujin players or Sub-Zero's getting stomped? I'm like, you guys realize that these characters that are also getting stomped right now are also the problem. Like once they start doing all this and these characters don't get touched, these characters end up being better.
Yep, I remember. I knew from pretty early on Fujin was too good, but the perception is just that he doesn't have anti-airs and shit like that, which was stupid.
Hit some of his ground movement. He would literally backdash away from you, jumped in, your jump would whiff, then he would either trip guard you or approach you and you can't move because he has the best footsies in the game, basically.
I think I maybe told this before, but like, yeah, it got to the point where at the end, like I would play Ninja Killer and ranked with Shang. He would get maybe a hit, and then literally he could run away the whole match and I couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't catch him. He flawless block, corpse drop, just nothing that you can do. It was really, really unfun to play against.
I remember his ground movement was amazing. Him, Melina, and Rain had some of the best movement I've seen. Even I would say, honestly, better than the MK9 movement. Their movement was insanely good.
Shit.
Insanely good.
Well, that's the reason people thought I was trolling. When I told you that the game had no zoning, it had no zoning. I think the mid-range zoning did exist, right? With Setron, who is very strong. But even like Cowboy was saying earlier, like she was kind of like non-existent toward the end of the game. Because why would you use her when you can use kind of Fujin and play a similar game anyway?
But also, Dave, you're leaving out that when you compared Setron to Fujin, Cabal, whatever, Setron was nerfed like 40 times over the course of 2 years. These other characters weren't. Cabal, Fujin,
I know, I understand that. I know, but I'm judging the game.
That's the huge balance flaw right there.
Well, I know, but I'm judging the way what's playable, how the game finished. I can't judge the game. I don't know, mid-season.
I agree with that.
Right, but I was never saying the last version of MK11 is this zoning heaven with like
I'm not saying
nowhere to be seen. I'm just saying through me playing MK11 through day one to the last day, there was a lot of zoning in a lot of versions of the game that I remember.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm not debating. I agree characters were nerfed. I agree with you. So I don't know like what the argument here is. I'm
just saying like they did mistakes. Like, okay, it's fine to nerf characters when they have brain dead things, but do some characters need to be nerfed 40 times over 2 years? Probably not. It's a little excessive, especially when they're going to be releasing characters like Fujin. If they're going to release characters like that, then what is the point of nerfing Cassie or Johnny or these
40 times in 2 weeks? It's T1000.
Yeah, and like even other characters that weren't top tier, like Shang was like what? He had like 10, 15 different nerfs. I remember they nerfed a lot of his stuff.
Oh,
they even made some of his strings do less damage. I'm like, why does the string do 2% less damage? Like, what does this do again? What is the point of this?
Yeah, he got hit really hard. I still don't understand that, but is what it is.
I mean, that's again, you're kind of describing why it's my least favorite Mortal Kombat game for a reason. They nerfed way too much. Universal's mechanics of the game are not fun to play with or against. And I really don't really have a character in that game because once they nerfed Highborn, I was kind of like out of the. It was really like I was out of the picture. I can use Cetrion and Jade, and I think they're a little bit of fun, but. Man, we talked about like execution and depth. Those characters have Cetrion does have depth, but man, Jade is just like a one-string character into whatever that thing, Delia's dance over and over again. She does no damage. It's just like, oh my god! And that's by the way, same thing with Highborn. That was one of my. Can you at least make this, make the razors adjust frames so like I have something to practice? She has no combos. The zoning is is fun to do and requires skill, but just like, can we? Not have a character this simplistic, please? Like, can we do something to it? Of course, they just nerfed it. They call it a day, right? So,
yeah,
exactly. And they again, like you said, like you guys keep saying, they kept all the strong, not necessarily offensive. I don't think the game is offensive. I think offensive the game is really like nerfed. That's why all these strong neutral characters like Fujin, Setron included, right? Jackie less so. That's why they're all so strong. That's because
they have really strong offense too, though.
No, they do. But it's not like MKX offense or even like MK9, like pressure stuff like that, right? So It's just that the way the universal mechanics are so bad that like it's hard to pressure people on when they're grounded. Unless you're those characters, you can just do whatever you want anyway, right? Like who cares? You have certain strings that cover everything. And you can, like Jackie, she has what she has. But when they combo you, they have either a great anti-armor or it doesn't matter when you
Yeah,
break
you're
them. They're all
not,
safe
you're not
anyway.
breaking away against them because they're just gonna, they have too
Oh,
many
yeah.
options. But no, I was in a similar
breakaway is
state with you, Dave.
the
Like
worst thing.
I had a bit of a character crisis after they nerfed Aaron. I really didn't know who to play, and I was juggling between a lot. And even Noob, who was really good in that game, I did not like his playstyle. I didn't like his slow, clunky movement, and he was just boiled down to just like footsie character. I'd rather play a character like MK9 Noob, who I think was more fun playstyle wise, even though he's low tier, than play a high tier Noob where he's just so generic and boring to play. And aside from that one combo that was a little hard to do, everything else was so easy to do, like in footsies and whatever. It just was not interesting playing. I hope in the future that when they design characters that they add some execution and stuff, because do we need to have combos be so easy and basic and have moves be so easy and basic that there's almost no reason to go to training mode? Like that's one thing I'm not a fan in with NRS games is there's so much of that for so many characters.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, let's have Franco. What do you stand on this topic? I know MK11 is not your favorite game either, but kind of what are your two cents?
As far as how strong zoning was in that game, I choose not to remember the horror stories of MK11 because I just did not enjoy the game. I don't remember there being too much zoning that I thought was like needed to be like nerfed. Like in the Garrus stuff with Sandtrap, like I would say that's more runaway, and I think it was justified because it was a low that was unreactable. You had to crouch block in the middle of your movement, like to get in on him. And the whiff recovery was insane on that move, and it still is pretty good to this day, like post patch. So, like I do think the Sandtrap nerfs were warranted. I wouldn't really say it was like a zoning, but more so maybe like space control. Like it wasn't like a projectile. I think he's like a weird instance as far as like whether he's a zoner or not. He's definitely a runaway though. I didn't like the rush down nerfs he got. I thought that was obnoxious, and the momentum he got like nerfed from his dashes was pretty overkill too. But yeah, most of the zoners in that game were pretty weak for most of the game's life, from what I remember. And I going back to Cowboy's point of players are going to adapt and get better at flawless blocking the projectiles and getting in just in general. Like I didn't have a problem getting in on Shang's corpse drops. Really, I kind of forgot that his ground eruptions had. Yeah, even like I could use somebody that wasn't Garrus as like I didn't even need Garrus either to get in on Shang or other zoners. Like I forgot about ground eruption having higher damage, but yeah, like for the most part, I think most of the zoners weren't like unbearable or needed like as many nerfs as they did. I did forget about Dragon Stance Shiva though. That didn't last for too long, and I think maybe if they would have left it alone, maybe we would see more counterplay if they had just left it. And why it took Telestomp so long to nerf, that was one of my least favorite things ever about MK11. Like I don't know why it was really, just so
really
silly.
Bad. No.
Well, somebody was crying. That's how you know it was bad.
I heard that. Yeah,
that was one of the worst like design moves I've ever seen in an NRS game. Honestly, it was like one of the most least fun experiences I've ever had. And like we've played against like Aquaman and Injustice 1, or Batgirl.
Yeah. Hold on, Shiva was more bad of a design than Tana and MKX. Do you remember that tournament when people were literally counting teleports in the crowd?
Both pretty bad.
I would much rather play against pre-patch Tanya than
defend
against Telestomp. I swear to God, dude. That teleport was obnoxious with Tanya though. Just for you get up like plus frames into both are horrible. Like that's definitely one of the worst. Like that's like NRS.
I'd say she was top 3, definitely. Like bad design stuff.
I think you have to add.
It's not even that it was too strong. It's just like it was so brain dead, like really down up, and now you become like this mixed god. Like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's easy to enforce and execute. Like it was just not it was so lopsided for most of the roster. Like
I would
you
add
really couldn't just
Injustice 1 Superman like on release when like
Oh,
Oh my god,
yeah.
I totally
That
forgot
was-
about those
I
memories.
think
When
that was probably
wasn't
honestly, that
at
was
Evo when Injustice was at Evo when the crowd literally booing during the top
I know.
8? That's
mean-
crazy how that happened.
What was Breath? It was like 0 or something, right?
It was
It was
full.
0. He had like an A-frame advancing mid that like crushed lows because he was like floating, and so it was just weird.
Yeah, and some characters.
And
Yeah,
if that A-frame advancing mid hit you, you might as well just start the next round because you were dead. Because it
Oh,
did
yeah,
led
'cause
to
you had,
like
like-
80% for whatever reason.
Yeah,
From what I remember, I think Ares could do literally nothing about that at launch.
Yeah, because remember Ares down 1 was like a low down 1, and Superman's like, well, guess what? I'm airborne, so I go over it. It's like, wow, thank you. That was
Yeah, it
probably
was
one of the
bad.
few like 9-1 matchups in the game. And
Yeah,
honestly, I don't think
those
you
are
could
some
even
crazy-
win one game in that matchup.
Could
have been a 10-0.
Crazy times.
I don't, at least with Shiva, you had to like the dragon stance. So there
At
was
least
some
with Shiva,
creativity.
you could do a random move with Fujin and try to hit her out of there, but like in some of these other
Yeah.
matchups, like Ares versus
There
Superman, you
was-
just could not do anything.
There was counterplay to Shiva. I would just say the argument though is that it's fucking boring. Like nobody wants to play against
Yeah,
that.
the counterplay was you got to look at the top screen. If it goes left, then you have to
Yeah.
immediately wait, count to 2, and then dash
Right.
forward. You'll make like these advanced stuff. But then the Shiva player just had to like hold L2 to delay and change your timing, and it's like, dude,
Right.
she's
Yeah,
doing
it's
the
just a
bare
dumb mind
minimum,
game.
and you have to be like the second coming of like the best fighting game player in the world just to counter it. So it was very skewed in how to stop it and how easy it was to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that is one thing I don't like about like a lot of the newer NRS titles is like the ease of access some characters have in the execution department. Like when it's
I agree.
MK1 Homelander, for example, like you just press back forward 2 and you get this freaking god property diabolical dash with a command grab that is like 99% reach of the screen, like, and it's unreactable up close. Like you can maybe even debate it like being unreactable from anywhere on the screen, but
That's what I think.
even if you
because
can't,
it's too fast.
yeah, like even if you can react to the startup of it, like from that far of a distance, it's still a mix-up because he has the grab, the kick, the knee, and not including like ambush cameos. So like that
Yeah.
move alone, just inputting back forward 2, and you just the risk reward
Enforcing a guess, yep.
is just it's just way too that's the Mickey Mouse clubhouse nonsense that I don't want to see in the future games. Like
That's a funny term,
Um,
Mickey House. Let me just say this. Regarding Homelander, I stopped playing MK1 before the DLC came out, but can you explain, like, what is it? Why is he brain dead? Why is he not fun to play against? Like, what is exactly that makes the character?
Yeah, it's basically what Franco just said. Like essentially, he has the dash. You know that move, right? Where he goes across the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the thing is, you can punish that, right? If you read what he's gonna do. The issue though is that like the punishment, at least for like the characters that I play, it's different depending on what he does. So like if he dashes at you and does the command grab, like if you ducked it, you can just sit up and punish him. But then you get to things where like instead of doing the grab, he'll do like an uppercut, but that puts him in the air. In order to punish that, you have to pretty much like not instantly, but pretty early on, like anti-air him or air to air him.
or commit
and
to like
if
a
you-
block or something. If
Yeah, or
if
commit
he,
to that block, which then
Farrah
opens you up. to
ambushes.
missing. Yeah. And so if you're a little slow on the, trying to punish the uppercut thing, then you're going to get hit by Farrah out of the air. He can also do things like, and this is so annoying, where he can even just not do that and he can just cancel the dash, or he can do the boot out of it. So essentially, it's like starting a mix-up from basically anywhere on the screen, and you can't react to it. You just have to guess, commit ahead of time. And
Wow,
it's so
so-
fast that a lot of times, if you're trying to do projectile or something, it will straight up get beat because you won't be able to get it on the screen.
So this sounds similar to the Shiva thing, where it's like this super basic thing to enforce. Like, I'm assuming this stuff isn't hard to execute, like to do this command dash.
No.
into-
Yeah,
Not at
all it takes is just back forward 2, press your input, and then decide whether you want to use Farrah according to the situation.
So you're doing this simple form of offense where if you hit, you're guessing your opponent just for even doing the move, and they have to be on point to know exactly what you're going to do, how to punish it. You could be in the air if you don't have a good air conversion, you don't get good damage on it. Why don't they just make it so with all that stuff, like if you punish him, it puts him like grounded state, so you just get a full punish every time. Like, why do you have to
That'd
guess?
be nice.
to-
And keep in mind too, we're not even really. That's just one move. Not
Oh,
only does he have
wait, so
that-
this isn't the only thing why he's done? There's more?
Yeah,
No.
there's
Oh, no.
more.
He
Yeah, there's a lot.
fucking-
There's a lot.
has probably like I'd say the best backwalk in the game. Like it's actually fucking crazy how fast he walks backwards. So he can do things like you're trying to respect, call out the dash. Then he'll just walk up, walk back, and then forward four, which is an incredibly ranged, disjointed normal.
That Rio, that's the biggest problem. It's not this. We've seen mix-ups before. He essentially has a footsie tool that has no hurt box. It's a laser attack.
Yeah.
And it has very fast recovery, and it's cancelable. It's
Right.
literally so cancelable. He can like do a stupid like it's like a command jump or whatever, and then he can like combo you, hit confirm it easily because it's like it has a huge cancel advantage. So it's not that
It's almost like a A-list whiff cancel from MKX mind game.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
stuff like that is like I don't want to say like if you want to have a move that's oppressive, this or that, why don't they make that move, whatever it is, be like his sweep animation, and then have him have to actually play footsies if he wants combos with other moves. Like I
Well,
don't
that's
know
what
why.
another
they
thing-
mix it up with. So they will do that forward four, right, at that range where you can't react, or they will, do the command dash and they'll mix you up.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's as scrappy as people say he is, because his conversions, I tried him. I don't think that they're simple. I think people are exaggerating. They get salty because they're losing to him, and he is the worst. And I say this, he is the worst like offender as far as at least one of the worst for like anti-zoning, because that dash just. If he ducks a fireball and does that command dash, essentially he's in against everything. I
Yeah.
think overwhelmingly beats Sector as well, because their fireballs don't really go like forward, right? They just kind of like drop on the ground. So he just like gets in and he gets in Footie's range and like he stays out of her armor, and then he could just spam forward four or just random dash in to throw her, and she really has poor options against that. I'm
Okay,
sure you
hold
guys
on.
would agree. Right? I don't think I'm done playing.
So you're saying he has good footsies, good walking away, good combos, good offense. What is his weakness then? Does he not have a projectile? Like what is the
Well,
downside?
his weakness, I'd say there's two things. His down one is pretty shit, but again, with his movement and forward four and the constant guessing, I don't think it's that relevant. And then also, his armor is pretty bad. But, and there's just a big but, like, his best cameo is Farah. She just automatically covers that. Like, he can wake up armor for free. And then while he's, like, off the screen, by the way, like, you can't see him. He can put her on his back and just instantly hit you if you try and do something in the air.
Man, they added cameo armors now. See, I wasn't around
Well,
to
no,
play
it's not
these
cameo
DLC.
armor. His move is armored, but because it puts him airborne, he can put Farah on his back.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
see what you're
what-
saying. So it
that's what- that's
synergizes
what
with
our
the cameo.
Yeah,
So it's
which
kind
is
of
also
like
what
it's
her
kind of like where
ambush does.
Sector's doing a flame thrower armor launcher, and then Mataro's covering her in case it's blocked.
Exactly. Yes.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, and another thing that's not even that I didn't even get to mention yet is his command grab. Since it stems from a stance move, technically, he can do tick throws with any normal or string
yeah.
into it too. So
Mhm.
you know
That's
how
really
Bane
strong.
has like Bane has designated tick throws like off down one, down two, stand
Yeah,
one.
so they're a little bit easier to see
He's-
coming.
Exactly, but characters like Homelander.
So he has command grabs that aren't
Ghostface.
telegraphed off certain normals. Like you have to actually, he could do it at almost any point.
Yeah,
With
it's
the mind
just
game.
totally a
Yeah,
guess. You
anything
can't
that's
react.
special cancelable becomes a tick throw essentially, which is
Right.
like his whole kit, except like sweep and down two.
Yeah, and he has one last thing, and Rio's gonna do something to himself, but it's gotta be said. He has one of those fatal blows that kind of push you a lot.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you can't
God,
punish it.
Of course,
Yeah, yeah.
icing on the cake, and that would be the thing I would hate the
Yep.
most.
Yeah, I know,
Wait,
like,
his
the
fatal
fatal
blow
blow
pushes
is
you
really
back
nice.
half screen. I thought they
Yeah,
fixed
It's
this like a long time
no
ago.
joke.
Why?
No joke. It's pretty. It's like
Hold
three
on, because I
hits
remember
on
they was
block.
telling me that they fixed the fatal blows, this and that, a while ago. Then what is this,
It's-
Dave?
Hold on a second. I
Dave was
said there
lying.
was an exception.
Fucking
I
liar.
wasn't lying. I wasn't lying. I
But
said there was some
why are
exception.
fatal blows pushing you back on half screen?
Well, again, depending on the character,
Why not
like,
just make it unsafe? Like, is that going to make him drop
Right.
tears all of a sudden if you could punish the fatal blow every time?
again, it depends on the character. It's punishable, right? If you're using like once, you can just do four. If you're doing havoc, if you're using havoc,
Yeah,
like I've
but
been
does
doing,
the fatal blow lead to 30%?
of course, obviously.
Then it should be punishable by everybody for getting
I
it
agree.
for
It
free.
should,
It's not
of
like he has to earn his fatal blow.
No, I absolutely agree. I'm just saying that it's
That right
not
there
like,
is bad design, in my opinion. Like that shouldn't even be in the game.
No, I agree. We don't want stuff like that. But I'm just saying that it is punished right depending on the matchup, because havoc can do that. The role. Quan Chi
Yeah,
can
you're
just do
saying some
four.
characters could do like a special reversal, or
Few
Quan Chi could do his
characters can
kick
do
from
it,
far.
but
Yeah.
It's not that common.
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
T1000 can't do shit about it.
Yeah, like, but there are certain characters for sure, like Kung Lao. I don't think can punish it at all. Like, there's just no way. Like, I can't.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't think
teleport
Garrus can punish it without snap and
Yeah.
he could sandstorm probably, but depending on where he's positioned, it'll launch forward or back, so it's not
No.
like a consistent thing.
Don't jump it because you're just gonna
Oh.
get caught. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they made his fatal blow that way. Like it has 3 hits, and every hit that you block has pushback. So it's like bing, bing, bing. Like every move has hella
Yeah.
pushback on
Yeah,
it.
so I also want to say is what's his name, Homelander, like a Fujin thing all over again, where he's just a DLC that hasn't gotten nerfed yet, and they're letting him have passes.
Done things to him, but it just hasn't been effectual. Like he used to be even crazier. Like that 4-4 we told you about. That's an insane footsie tool. It used to be a low. So he had overhead low mix-ups.
Wow, so he was a
He
footsie
had
character with an obnoxious
he had
mix-up.
3-way mix. 3-way mix.
Yeah,
Kind of makes me glad I missed this part of MK1, honestly,
Really hope he gets nerfed.
because it sounds like MKX, but the
It's
bad parts
terrible.
of MKX where it's like in the neutral too.
Well, again, his offense is not as good as MKX, right? It's not like because it's very strong. It's one of the strongest thing in the game. But I wouldn't like compare stuff to MKX because MKX was just absolute insanity.
Yeah, but what's weird is some characters in this game you can argue may have better offense than MKX, because in MKX, getting hit by some random strings or low hero overhead, not every single one of them went to a combo. It seems like in MK1, a lot of these random strings or moves can literally go into a combo because of the cameo.
Yeah, relative to MK1, he has a really good mix.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Rio, what's one of the things I've always criticized this game for, which one of our co-hosts disappeared, doesn't want to debate me anymore. I've always said that this game it's okay to have this offense. I don't want to nerf anything. You guys can keep it, but like give us zoning that's like, I don't know, like 70% as strong or 60, whatever the case might be, right? We can debate the equivalency and the numbers.
You know what's weird? I'm going to say this, because in every NRS game before, there was usually a good zoning character in the beginning or like a patch where it eventually got nerfed out. But I'm thinking right now, when I was playing MK1 in the first 2 months, even when I was playing Detroit, was playing Shang or other characters, I don't even remember there being a good zoner. Like even Shang's Ground Skull seem like very bad versions of the MK9 one.
Terrible.
So was there even a zoner in the beginning that was really good, or did this game just not have like a zoning phase where there was like a really strong zoner?
There was
definitely
one,
not in the beginning.
Not in the beginning. There was one, and he needed to be nerfed. It was like release
What was
date
it?
Peacemaker was
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. See, I didn't get to play him in time because I jumped ship already before the DLC hit, so I never got to see or play Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I'm just gonna use the bathroom real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, he needed to be nerfed because he had like a lot of scrubby stuff. But aside from that, I would say
so this game only had one problematic zoner, and that's it. That's like a world record now for an NRS game. They only have one zoner that was good at one point.
Let me say this, because I think the skill in this game and some of the designs are underrated. Like, for example, I think maybe Cabo will disagree, but I think Gears is very well designed. You know, you have to like manage a lot of resources to make it work, and you generally have to be like a Gears main to actually use the character effectively. Would you agree with that, Cowboy?
I mean, it takes time, but I don't know if it's like this amazing design.
No. But I mean, it's amazing in comparison or in contrast to what they used to have, right? Like freaking Deadshot.
But look, Dave, here's the problem, and I'm just going to comment on what I saw at EVO with Gears. I think Gears as a character design is very good and everything. The problem is when you have a good designed character, you muddy it with some of these scrubby cameo stuff. Like, again, this is not a shot at Gur. I don't want anyone to be like, oh my god, real system about that. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the game and the cameo, not the player. I would see Gears players do things like half screen, random overhead, a Matar teleport, I'm safe, or now I'm gonna do the slow Matar teleport and things like that. The problem is, yes, Gears has a design as a character. He is skillful. He's good design, but it gets muddied when you have scrubby stuff like that getting put into the mix. With the whole Mataro, I'm gonna do random mix and then be safe. Or Sector, random armor launcher, now I'm safe. Things like that. Just kind of muddy the water a lot.
I think every game has some type of scrubbiness. Like that's just how fighting games work. Like, you know, maybe the overall design is good, and that this one move maybe does a little bit too much. I don't see.
Yeah, but the problem here is that NRS actually designed some good characters. Base Gears is actually designed pretty good, but it's the cameos that make him seem obnoxious or scrubby and dumb. Which, in my point, when they're adding a whole system mechanic that's doing this to the game, to ruining some character designs like that, that means that's a huge red flag that needs to get looked at.
Well, let me give you an example, right?
But what I'm saying is the point of cameos is supposed to enhance the game, make it better, and not make it scrubbier and worse. That's kind of doing the opposite. Why would you make a good designed character and then be like, yeah, now that we gave you this chocolate cake, we're gonna put mayonnaise on the top because we wanted to. Like, why?
You guys don't put mayonnaise on your cakes?
Yeah, Gears players do. Yeah.
Well, let me say this again. I think every fighting game has those type of problems, but
No, but it's
the
not about
point
every fighting game having them or not. It's about, is this really helping the game more? I feel like camos are kind of making it scrubbier and worse. Whereas if you didn't have them, like it would have been interesting if maybe next patch. I don't know if MK1 is getting any more support, but if they do another patch, they can make a mode for fun where you don't have cameos. You just play the game by itself. We can see how the game plays.
Honestly, I think that game mode alone would have helped the sales so much more on MK1 because like the casual fan base just for some reason hates them. I don't know why.
They're too complicated for most people. I think that's the main reason.
Yeah.
Like
Also,
using another thing is just not intuitive for most, Mortal Kombat fans.
again, it's kind of like the wake up system in MK11, right? Or the combo system in MK11, right? One of the things that casuals practice a lot is combos. Yet you try to do what's the thing? You go into ranked, you try your combos, some fool breaks away, and what happens? You get counter return and you get pissed off. In
Yeah.
MK1, what happens is that I don't know, random Sub-Zero player you play against does a random slide, you block it. What happens? He's in the air because now he's using Chameleon. Oh no, or there's
or
a
Motaro
projectile
teleported him full screen. Peace.
or something like that. Yeah. So and it's kind of counterintuitive, especially for a game for a franchise that has not trained its audience for games like that, right? You expect that in Marvel, right? Somebody does something stupid. Oh, here's Doctor Doom's, like
But
missile
Dave,
coming at you. Right?
here's the thing though, it's not the fact that you can do this stuff that's annoying. It's the fact that when you're playing against this, the game just doesn't give you the movement and stuff to combat it. Like, okay, I know you're gonna go full screen after doing this. Why is the movement so bad? There's no super jumping, there's no being able to, there's no advancing guard, there's no all this stuff. And you have things in the game that are like just these like little baby mechanics, like up lock, which is like one of the most boring and brain dead mechanics I've ever seen, that has like almost barely any depth to it. And then the floss block, which is just done with one button. But then when you do that, there's not much you can do around it because they removed a lot from MK11. Just a lot of the mechanics in this game are just lacking. They're not very interesting, and they're not hyped to see either. Like, who the hell is getting hyped for seeing someone pull off an up block in a tournament match? Like, you just tap up and block. How's that interesting?
No, I don't like up block, but I do like flawless block for the most part, at least in MK1. It helps keep characters in line with how much meter they build and stuff. And
But even with floss block, like, imagine you play against Aguirre. You know he's going to do the overhead and teleport away with Motaro. Imagine you had advanced mechanics you could do out of floss block. Like when you block that, you can floss block and then do a super jump out of it to reach him full screen. Not to punish him, but like now you're in his face and you can, things like that. Like there's just not a lot of layers behind all this stuff in the game. It's just very simplified. What you see is what you get, and that's it.
I mean, yes and no. I mostly agree, but I think this game does have some interesting characters. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're perfect, right? For example, Kenshi, I think, is very well designed. He was very cancerous to play against, but he has like these three stances. It's interesting. It's obviously he's a mix-up character. I would also add Noob to the list. I think again, depending how you feel about Noob, I personally don't want him to play like this, but he's definitely like well designed. He has strengths and weaknesses. I would add a lot of people will disagree, but like the zoning with Kung Lao, I think it's interesting. It works. I like the way the armor works. It's 2 bars, so there's some type of meter management involved. Instead of just like day one, just spamming armor nonstop. You can't do anything about it. Like I these. I will be blown up for saying this. I think Quan Chi is also well designed. He just needs a couple more buffs, and I think he would be very strong. Again, it's a cameo game, so there's really no point in complaining. Oh, this happens. Yeah, it's an assist-based game. You either like that or not. Obviously, many people don't. Some do, and I think you have to take that. The thing is, what you want to do is once you start like nerfing, let's say overheads, try playing Katana in this game and see how it feels like. I literally played somebody. I had a 50% life lead. I just held down back. What is she gonna do? She has almost no throw combos. She has no overhead. She all of her strings have gaps. Why? I don't care what she does. I'm just gonna hold down back. And I don't think that's healthy for the game to. I don't think it's healthy to play like that. I don't think it's healthy to watch that because it's just kind of boring.
Wait, they haven't added a cameo yet that gives you 50/50s?
No, they did.
Farrah does. Yeah.
Fair.
I think there might be another one. I'm
So
not
with
thinking
Katana,
of.
why wouldn't you use that then? That's what she's lacking. Or is it just not good with her?
Well, she
Like,
she
is
does
Katana
have.
that bad in this game where not even a 50/50
Well, I don't.
cameo can help
I
her?
don't think she's bad. She has some mix-ups in the corner, and they kind of buffed some of her zoning. The thing is, how do you can't she cannot break down people effectively with like maybe Farah you can argue she can, but she doesn't have the best synergy with Farah, even though but there is some, right? They mostly use Jax, you know, because it gives her certain like setups which she could call Jax, ground pound is kind of guaranteed to hit, but that's like low damage and it's not really that effective. I'm not saying she's bad. I think every character in this game is decent, right? For the most part, especially if you pick, you know, a very strong cameo, you're probably gonna have a decent character. It's just that, you know, like I'm against nerfing things. I don't think Gears' overhead is scrubby. I think there's a risk reward. You use it. Obviously, you use your resource with Mortaro. That there's a cooldown involved. It's you know if you can't just spam it over and over again. So I think for the most part, most characters in this game, well, not maybe most, some are definitely well designed, and others obviously not so much. Like Liu Kang's boring. Um, Homelander probably could maybe use one nerf. I don't know what it would be. Rain is also, I think, very interesting to watch. I don't like the way he plays, but again, I do like the cancel involved, and you know, his footies are strong. So I just don't think the game is very scrubby. I generally don't believe there's some scrubby stuff for sure, but I don't, you know, maybe the striker stuff. I don't know, but I find the game too enjoyable. I can honestly use 4 or 5 characters, unlike in a game like
All right,
MK11.
I
I can
want to
have
say
unlimited.
this. I want to say this because in the beginning of the game, I was so turned off by it, and like I made those claims in the beginning, which you first didn't agree with. When I was saying the game is literally MKX with better neutral. I've been
Yes.
reading some of the comments lately, and some people have said, Rio, you're wrong. The combos aren't as long as you think. They're actually on, they're like around 10, 12 seconds. They're not like 15 to 20. And the meta's a little bit different now. The movement's good. If there's going to be another patch for this game, I think I'm going to re-download it and give it a fair shot because to Dave's point, it's not fair that I guess I keep talking about the game from playing in the first 2 months. I should probably play the last version that releases before I give my full opinion on MK1. But I want to say, have things changed though? Like, does the game feel meta-wise different from it was in the beginning?
100%. I mean, yeah, the beginning was like, man, Raiden was just doing the EX thing into safe cameo, That was basically the beginning of MK1.
Yeah, but it
So there's
wasn't
no
just
doubt
Raiden.
things
There was a lot
changed.
of like Baraka was annoying to play
Baraka
against.
too, yeah.
Tanya, Kung
Yeah, that's not
Lao,
the meta
Rain.
anymore, for sure.
That's a
Yeah,
good
the
Now it's
sign
just
then.
mixed
roster
meta.
the roster balance has gotten better over most of the patches, in my opinion.
I don't think this is a game Rio would like though, because it unlike what Roy has stated, the game isn't really that fast. Movement could be better for sure.
No, but here's the thing though. Some people have been saying the game actually is fast and has really good movement. So I'm thinking maybe they
I don't know
either
about those.
changed it during a patch or maybe the character I was playing in the beginning just happened to be a character with crappy block dashing. Like I was playing Havoc. So maybe because I played that character, it skewed my opinion of the game feeling clunky and slow.
I mean, maybe I'm in the minority here. I think the movement in MK1 is fine. I mean, I think it's pretty good, to be honest. Especially when you're playing at a high level, like, the game is incredibly fast because there's so much going on, right? You have to keep track of their cameo, their bar, or if they're jumping, right? Do you up block or just wait? So I don't agree that the game is slow. Maybe, I mean, maybe in comparison to like MK9, but it's definitely faster in my opinion than MK11.
See, this is interesting
It gets
because
pretty frantic.
some of the comments I've been reading recently have been saying, "Hey, Rio, the game's different now. The combos aren't as long as you think. The movement's better. This and that." And I was under the assumption that the game felt slower than MK11 because it did in the beginning, but maybe now things are different.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion. It's not. I think the game is pretty fast, actually. Even against characters who are running away, like things happen pretty quickly.
All right, so let me say
Yep.
this: where do you guys think the game is going to go from here? Are we getting another patch for the game, or is this it? Like, is there no more balance patches? What do you think?
We're getting at least one more. I feel. I'm pretty confident in that.
And
How good it will be, I
I
don't
think
know.
there's gonna be I think there's gonna be at least one more. But yeah, again,
yeah, and
how
this will
good
kind of
and
be
how
like the
much,
big, like the last big final patch for the game. What do you guys think they're going to change in it? We'll start with Franco.
if they really do
Like
a
in terms
major
of general
patch,
mechanics, characters, new things they're going to add. Like, what do you think they're going to change for this last patch?
if they really do end up doing a major patch, which I don't think they're going to do because all their patches have been very small and minimal, which I kind of disagree with a lot
No,
of
no,
the
I'm not
time.
saying it's going to be a major patch. I'm saying for this last patch they're going to do, what do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be big? Do you think it's going to be character changes, system changes? Like, are they going to nerf? Like, what do you think they're going to do exactly?
I'm gonna guess they're gonna keep it pretty small, like they have with the last couple patches. Now, that's not what I want, though. I want to see a lot of changes because if it's going to be the last patch, I want it to be something fun, major, like a lot of cool changes of characters. But I think they would probably. I don't see them adding any new mechanics. I think at most it'll just be character changes. I'm hoping they buff the lower tier characters, like the characters that aren't as represented. Slightly nerf the top tiers, like nerf Homelander's Ford 4, give it some recovery frames so you can actually contest it. Nerf fatal blows to the ground as far as how safe they are. Like reduce their pushback. It's still been a problem, and even though it's been an ongoing issue since MK11 when they were introduced. Yeah, I mainly think it would just be character changes at most. I don't think there's going to be any new mechanics. So I would like to see a lot of changes though, because every other patch has been very small and minimal, and it's just not as fun when you have less changes. And some characters get no changes, which is even worse.
By the way, you mentioned fatal blows. Let me bring this up because I remember Dave had to correct me on an episode before when I thought I was under the assumption that NRS fixed fatal blows this game and they removed armor from them on one of the patches. Apparently that never happened and fatal blows still have armor.
Yeah, they still have armor. It just
they
got
do.
the
It's not
frames got
frame
delayed.
one.
Yeah, I think it's frame 8
I think
or
it's like
something.
frame 4. Oh, is it
I
frame
mean, is it 4?
8?
It's something like that.
I can't believe
Basically,
that's
it's
still
not
in the
immediate.
game because nobody
Yeah.
liked the armor on fatal blows in MK11. They still kept them in. Dave, would you like to share what you think is possible for this last patch for the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what they did with the recent patch is a step in the right direction. Like adding, for example, like invincibility on the wake up was a buff for defense. I still think Quan Chi is kind of weak, but when you pick Darius, I actually think he becomes okay. So stuff like that, I think maybe the game needs a little bit more. Not too much. I don't want defense, being as strong or even zoning for that matter as it was in Injustice 2. I think that changes the game too much and makes it kind of boring to play and watch. However,
Trader.
I think Trader, but I think I liked kind of what the game has become and how has it changed. I like the major buffs that they've done across the board. I like the new moves that they have added. I think that's definitely a step in the right direction, and it was kind of again it has changed the game for the better, has improved the power levels. They kind of nerfed the scrubby shit, like the Cyrax stuff, the Raiden stuff. But now that those certain characters are not and cameos are not as strong, maybe it's time to give them something to play around with, like a Raiden now, like Peacemaker, like maybe Cyrax the cameo. I don't know what they're gonna do. I agree with Franco. I think it's mostly been small, even though the recent patch I think was bigger than usual, right? Like what they did to the invincibility on Wake Up. I think that's huge. They kind of brought back I'm sorry, why do I keep saying Cyrax? They kind of brought back Stryker, who's now back at the top. He was like useless for a long time after they had nerfed him, but now I think he's very strong again. So, like surprises, make interesting changes, make changes to make the game fun, do maybe a little bit more than anticipated.
Yeah, I do think there's still some cameos that are pretty weak. Like Frost is still pretty weak. Like there's a lot of cameos and characters they could give some more buffs to.
Yeah, you
like,
mentioned that. What does Frost do, for example? Like, what is the point of picking her? Like, what does she offer you compared to other
really,
cameos?
she offers Kenshi players a way to get Sento mid combo. That's really it. She has like a
Unbox
invincible
too.
wake up option now. With the Frost iceberg move. It's like Darius's twister kicks, but like slightly worse, less active invincibility frames. But if people aren't using her with Kenshi, then they're usually using her for like the Frost bomb into like throws, usually. But outside that, she really doesn't have a niche.
Is she the
I
only?
mean,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and Dave will probably disagree with me. Maybe all of you will. I think Frost is a good example. I think she does some good things. Like she has, okay, right? You said Kenshi. She gets it mid combo. He also gets it just on block. By the way, it's not like he even has to hit you to use Frost that way. She also provides setups, a full screen low. I don't think it's an issue of her being like just terrible. Again, I think it's more just the top cameos are too strong. Like Tremor is always giving you value. Fucking Striker now is always giving you a lot of value. I I think that this issue is that some are kind of niche and interesting, whereas others are just generally too good. So I would personally tone down some of the top ones, but I know that's not necessarily popular.
Would you guys say Frost is the only cameo that needs something, or is it other ones too?
There's others in my opinion. Like I think Sonya, Shujinko,
Yeah. Shujinko's really cool too. Like it's a shame that
Goro.
he's not very good.
Yeah, I would say Goro.
Yeah, Goro.
Darius still like he's still kind of
Wow,
too
still?
niche in
Because
my
I've
opinion.
heard Darius got buffed like a lot over
I think
the
Darius
past
is pretty
years.
good.
A
He just
lot
doesn't
of
have
his buffs
synergy with
weren't.
everyone.
Yeah, a lot of his buffs weren't too meaningful, like in my opinion. And outside of this recent Quan Chi pick of his, like he's
That
still
wake
pretty
up is really
niche.
good, dude. Come on.
Yeah, that
That
was
shit is
no.
insane.
That's the best thing they ever gave him. Though every other buff before that though is like not that significant.
Honestly, the only thing they can do is maybe reduce the cooldown on just as like the what is it? Not the twister kicks, the thing where he comes in you get a combo,
Mix
right?
up?
Maybe that,
Oh,
what
that
is
thing.
it? Yeah,
Are
that's
you
it.
talking about the mix up on knockdown or just like mid
No, not the
combo?
mix up a knockdown. Just like when you just in the neutral and you press the cameo, but when he comes in and
Yeah.
you know,
The ambush versions of his moves.
yeah, whatever what is it called? Because you don't even see it that often, right? Because the cooldown is so freaking long, you barely even see that move.
Are you talking about the
The
spin
ballerina
kick?
kick.
The spin
The
kick?
ballerina kick.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah, well, that move. What is it? That spinning kick. Exactly. Sorry,
Yeah,
I don't.
It's
Why am I
spin
yeah,
kick
drawing a
gives you a
blank?
combo. He had that in the beginning of the game too.
No, yeah, but the
yeah.
cooldown is
That
too
move has
long.
like 22-second cooldown or
Yeah, it's
something.
way
Yeah, I
too
remember
long.
my first team when I got MK1 was Havoc and Darius, and I was like, when I was playing against Troy, he was playing Kung Lao Shang, and Shang Kung Lao, and I was like, wow, you're using Kung Lao like every 5 seconds. I'm using Darius like every 25 seconds. Like,
Every
what is
round.
this?
Yeah.
Who designed some of these
Exactly what I'm
cooldowns?
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it should be like 10 seconds. They would be broken. But like
Wait,
make it.
well,
I don't know.
it gives you.
18.
Well, I remember it being kind of good. Well, I'm not saying it was good, but I remember with
Yeah.
Havoc, you could get full combos off like just a throw and his command throw or his rolling throw. Like, so it gave you a full combo of all of that. But 22
Yeah, but
seconds is kind of maybe 15.
Well, yeah, I
I
think
mean, to
maybe
be
But you have to be
15
careful
something.
because then you have to think about like how Homelander or other characters are going to use it. You know.
Well, they're not going to use him. I don't think. But it would probably help. Quan Chi and he's not. The Nitara players they also like Darius, right? It's such these low health characters who can use some of the cameos. Like if you pick, I was watching somebody pick Quan Chi with Striker, dude. Oh my god, that guy was dying like so quickly. It was ridiculous.
850.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you
Was
you
it
have
double
like
health penalty?
850.
yeah.
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 So
Quan is low
Quan Chi
health,
has,
and
and then the cameo
that's
has battle.
subtract.
Wow, that's so. What is it like? -100, or more than that?
minus 50. So you get to 850 from 900.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
so start the
base
match
health
with
is 900.
15% less health. That's pretty
Yep.
considerable.
Yeah, my
Not
forbidden team with Quan Chi is
15 Rio.
Movado.
Rio, he has 15 less because Quan Chi already comes with that. Like you said, already comes
But
with
isn't
less
the
health,
default
right?
HP 1,000? So if you minus 150,
Health
Quan's is
less.
900.
oh, it's
Health.
900. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have already like less 10%, right? And then you pick Striker,
Yeah.
and then you have another five
Yeah,
less
so it's
percent, right?
15% from like if the normal
Yeah.
health is 1,000, right? Which would be 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
You
and
was
then
like
when you're going
combo
against characters
dying.
like Shao and a cameo with plus health, it's like
Or
so
Conan.
lopsided in the health
Yeah.
department. Yeah, Conan Jinko. Yeah, it's not fun against those teams
Ridiculous.
with that kind of health.
I
Yeah.
think Kano could also use I don't understand why Kano takes away health. Why he doesn't. He's not like this is not the
I wish
beta, man.
I wish they would revert all of his changes as far as like the health nerf and the cooldowns he's gotten, and like the ball having like an active meter depletion when you charge it. Like, I think he got nerfed way too much, and I think they should revert a lot of the cameos. To be honest, from like it would just make the cameos stronger. Like there would be more options to choose from.
And they basically
Well,
did that with Striker.
Yeah, but one
Yeah, they
dangerous
should do
one.
that with Cyrex and
Well,
Kung
that's
Lao.
well, you have to be careful with that. Look, I'm okay with that, but then Rio's gonna try downloading the game, and he's gonna run into rain spamming safe armor, and then he's gonna go fucking crazy. So and then
Okay, just to say, I'm not saying I'm going to download the game just to bash it, but I'm going to actually
no, I
try it.
understand.
But
No, I'm just
wait,
saying-
hold on. But I'm not saying I'm saying when there's a final patch out, if they release it, I'm going to give the game another try because it's fair.
Well, you're not gonna like it if you're playing
But
it.
we
against
don't know what the
rain
last
players.
patch is going to be, though. What if they do some
I
crazy
know,
changes?
listen to Franco saying, "Oh, we want Cyrax spinner, spinner Rooney back, whatever cooldown should be reduced." Well, then you're gonna have to deal with some safe armor, and it's not gonna be fun for some people. I'm just being fair here. Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna trash the game. I'm just telling you, I know what you like and what you don't. And fighting Rain, who's spamming
Imagine I
safe
come
armor.
back to the game after not playing the first 2 months, and I come back and now it's armor meta again with the 50-50 inside. It's literally the same. How funny would that be?
I mean,
It's
I
like
mean,
I
safe
left and now
armor.
I'm back at square one.
I mean, safe armor already exists in the game, so I mean, it's whatever.
Right.
If Rain gets his back, and if
Yeah,
you
but
really want to,
before it was
you
you
can
would
make
get.
his armored launcher like 2 bars. If you
But
really,
before it wasn't just safe armor. You would block armor and they would still have their turn to press after with the Sox helicopter or whatever.
well,
Yeah,
no, Rain couldn't. He didn't have pressure off his safe. It was just safe armor. It wasn't plus on block armor.
I don't remember exactly, but it was like kind of close to a neutral position, right? Like it was probably like 0 or something. Cowboy,
So yeah, there was a lot of pushback on it, but yeah, you weren't
One which
plus.
yeah.
move?
Like it just kept you safe.
Prepaid train was doing like armor into the
Spin. Yeah.
Cyrex helicopter, right? It was like probably like a neutral situation, right? It was.
I
It
would
was
say
not.
so.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
not plus, but it was. Anyway, I'm just saying, a lot of people, if they're gonna do stuff like that, like have like strong armor, which I'm for, don't make it like the pre-patch Tanya stuff. Don't make it like the pre-patch Kung Lao stuff, because people hate stuff like that. They just
Oh,
go
that was
crazy.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, people hate the game. I'm all for armor, but it needs to be like Kung Lao. Like make it require 2 bars if you want to make it safe. Something like that, something more involved. It can still be good.
Yeah,
We all agree, like Kung Lao's armor is good, right, Cowboy? You would agree. But it's
Yeah,
like
it is.
don't like do the stuff that people hate, then it just gets nerfed. And like Tanya's been low tier for like what, essentially like since since they nerfed her, she's completely. If there was a bad, again, I don't think she's bad. It's just like she was so nerfed, and they just took away one thing, and now nobody really uses her anymore.
What even is Tanya's design supposed to be? Because she looks like, is she a zone or is she a footsie character? Because I
She's a
remember at the
footsie
beginning, all
character.
she did was spam armor. So I'm like, I don't even know what this character does. Aside
Yeah,
from this
footsie
one.
character, for sure.
Okay. I'm
Which
guessing
is
her
why she's
footsies are
not
just
good because
underwhelming a bit.
I mean, being a footsie character in this game means shit because it's not about footsies. It's about forcing mix with cameos, basically.
Yeah, well, you guys were saying earlier, Homelander has a command that actually comes up to your face and then you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
guess. Like, so,
Yeah, try
I mean,
playing
that
footsies
doesn't
with
seem
that.
fun. Yeah, that doesn't seem fun to play footsies against.
Nope.
Well, I
yeah.
think Fuzzy's doing
Tanya,
that.
like her only mind game before was whether she was going to armor or not. But since they took that away to most extents, outside of her seeking guidance, she really doesn't have.
How did they nerf
like,
that
too many-
again? Did they just remove the armor in the move? Like, how did they go about that? Where she's not
It
They
doing
gave it
armor
a
basic.
different. They gave it a different block reaction outside
Right.
of seeking guidance, to where she just bounces off the character, and she's so minus that she can't save herself or make herself plus with an ambush.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And she
That
also can't confirm it either.
That had to happen. I think Raiden is in a similar position, although he's probably better than Tanya, I would say.
Oh
But
yeah.
like his main game plan, right, was just chipping you with the EX thing.
Yeah, he was
I
like
don't know why I'm
Aqua,
forgetting
right?
name.
Yeah, he was
Like
like
so that
Aqua.
wasn't very interesting. I agree, but it's like now that they took that away, he just doesn't really do anything.
One of the annoying
Like-
things about Raiden, I don't know if
Mhm.
this is still in the game or not, but when I was playing against him, you had to literally guess if he was going to do down one and wait or down one shocker. You couldn't
Yeah,
down one and back.
that's-
Like that was literally like
Yeah.
you couldn't interrupt it. Is that still in the game? Like things like that where a lot of characters doing down one special and you have to hold it?
Definitely yes.
Yeah, because I found that
but,
very
you
annoying
know,
in the beginning.
It is. I mean, it does a lot less chip damage now with Raiden in particular. And you have to use a
Raiden's
cameo
not
to make it
plus
safe.
off of it either.
Yeah.
He's not like plus off of it like he was before.
Yeah, no,
He's
I just thought it
safe
was
now.
so crazy that such a basic condition as doing a down one on your opponent granted you so much. I'm like, this is just
Oh, yeah.
terribly designed all around. Like just having a down one do all this, that's crazy.
Yeah, all that stuff, like I would say most of, if not all of the scrubby stuff, they completely removed. Especially I think the early meta was like you do strings, call Cyrax, and then even if you flawless block, it didn't matter because you would still gain meter. Now if you flawless block something, meter gain stops, right? So, and they nerfed the shocker like multiple times. Like it's not really it's honestly it's just not a good move anymore. It just isn't. Like they over nerfed it, I would say. But I understand why
like
it's easy to do.
I agree with how the storm cell is now. Like you pretty much need an ambush to make it like safe, which I think is fair. Otherwise, that move's just way too like it's kind of polarizing. It's either going to be the safe move with an ambush, or if it's going to be safe without a cameo, that's going to be pretty problematic in my opinion.
So if you guys have to
But yeah.
list like the S tiers, who do you think they would be in this game? And then after that, you can just talk about who you think are the bottom 5
Homelander.
Well, yeah,
as the best, like number
Homeland-
1 or top 5.
I think he's number one.
I think it's debatable. I think Cyrax is up there. I think top 5 are Homelander, Cyrax, Havoc, Stindel. Oh my god.
Wow, really,
uh,
Sindel?
She's
yeah.
up there, maybe not top 5, but close.
Seems like a lot of
Yeah.
people kind of stopped playing her, at least from
Yeah,
what I
they
saw.
She's
a
definitely
little
still
bit.
The other top
relevant.
tiers
Yeah.
are easier to play. The other top tier are easier
okay.
to play.
Yeah,
Um,
she is still really good, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's still
she-
relevant.
Any of those characters, they just mix you. Like maybe Havoc, not as much anymore. Once they remove, they change.
oh, he
some
still
of the-
does.
I know he does.
Wait, did they change one of his mix-ups? Like they nerfed one of them, or
Yeah, one
Yeah.
one was it? No, two
2-2.
went from was it? It was a high overhead, right? Now it's
Yeah, it used to be overhead gas, or a
Yeah.
gas between the overhead and the low.
yeah, but now it's mid. I'm sorry, high mid overhead. Only the last hit.
okay, so now you could fuzzy it.
Yeah,
Definitely
So-
easier. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I've been using, and I know Cowboy's gonna roll his eyes again. I've been using Havoc and Striker. Dude, the armor is legit, man. It's legit.
I'm
Bro,
sure
Dave
you
is
like
obsessed with armor. Oh my god.
It makes people so mad. So you can do armor into grenades. It's fucking hilarious, man. People get so mad they quit. So you can
So
do
you
like
said-
just do that.
Yeah, so you said
Go ahead.
Homelander, Sindel, Havoc, and who else did you guys feel is top
Oh,
5?
the big one I think we're missing. I think Rico is fucking ridiculous. I don't see how that
Yeah,
character's not
Rico's
top
good.
5. Shit is just nuts, man.
And what happened with him?
Yeah,
Because I remember
20
early on in the game, they telling me like they nerfed him like drastically or something.
Oh, that's just because he
It was
couldn't
just his
stand
ninja
stars as
stars.
well. Yeah. We know Dave's true motivation.
What motivation?
Yeah. You're just mad his stars got nerfed, even though they're still good.
Rio, was I ever mad? Was I ever complaining about Reiko?
No,
ever
you
to-
weren't. You were just telling me like they did like a drastic change to Reiko. They nerfed his
swear I wasn't
projectile
complaining.
over like
It
some
wasn't
other
that
stuff
bad.
that was
he
in the
was
game.
he was bad for a long time. They just
No,
nerfed his
I don't agree
projectile.
with that either. He was
Wait, I
like
don't
bad.
understand. They nerfed his projectile. Like, why is he so good now? Then they nerfed something about him, or did
give
they
him
give
new
him?
moves.
They gave him.
They gave him some
Oh,
shit.
so they
yeah.
gave him new stuff. Okay, let me guess. They gave him like more mix-ups or 50-50s.
Yep.
Like Havoc.
He actually is in a way similar to Homelander in that he can
Yeah,
run at you,
yeah.
and then he can do. It was basically strike throw. He can either do an airborne command grab, which if he does EX, you can't duck it, so you just have to hard read on a jump.
Does a ton of damage even on its own. There's a lot of.
And then
20%. It does a lot.
21.
oh, it's way too
Yeah.
much, yeah. Or you can do just a normal hit like a kick or low, and you can cover those with cameo like Tremor.
Yeah,
So-
and
Yeah, that's
stars are
interesting. I definitely don't remember him having that in the beginning.
and stars are like they're not
Ye-
like a zoning projectile, but they're still good in the neutral. Right? You can throw it out and then
Yeah.
you can catch
Amazing
people.
fuzzy tool.
Yeah, so it's and also his very good buttons, which he's always had. So
Ridiculous,
think-
yeah.
yeah, he probably there were also a lot of like Reikos, man, at the Final Kombat.
Yeah,
Right?
he's
yeah.
easy to play and super rewarding, so why wouldn't you?
Do you guys agree he's
Yeah.
top 5?
I think
Yeah, I
so.
think he probably is better than Sindel.
And
Yeah.
who would the fifth
Debatable,
be?
yeah.
Who would the fifth be, or is this like the fifth spot's debatable between a couple characters?
It's hard to say.
Still,
There does reach
I
a
still
point.
have Ermac in my top 5, but I know it's a hot take.
I could see it. I mean, it is hard after a certain point to distinguish.
Yeah.
'Cause there are some really strong characters, I should say. I think in that discussion, this one, well, maybe not top 5. This might be a hot take. I think Melina is very strong.
Yeah. She,
She is.
I think low key kind of slept on. I think maybe not top 5 again, but like Smoke is fucking ridiculous with Striker. I think
another Ghostface. Oh my god, I hate that cat. Ghostface is annoying as
he
hell,
does
man.
at least have some limitations. Like I don't think he's like as bad as like Homelander, but yeah, he's up there.
But he has the same thing like Rio. It's another character who has like he can run and a command throw you. But except
Dude, hold
now
on. What's with all these like command run characters that have all these mix up? Why does
DLC,
you guys just name like 3
DLC.
different characters that have these 3 different mechanics? Like what?
It's,
yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's a
also has
DLC thing.
and he also has an overhead and a low and again a command throw and decent.
So he does this stance, and if you're ever in a position where you have to block or defend, you have to basically guess.
pretty much.
Yes.
And he also has a vortex. It's like just like Batgirl. He has a vortex, except he also has a
yeah.
command throw.
I think other characters that are up there. I think Scorpion is very strong. Again, in that top 10
He
discussion
is.
at least. I would say who else? I'm looking at the roster right now. Yeah, Sindel's up there. Or Mac, like Franco said. Those are probably the top tiers, or at least most of them.
How do you guys feel about Johnny? Like, is he still too honest of a character, or do you guys think he's overrated, underrated? Like,
I think he's
me and
good.
competitor talk about Johnny all the time, and he's
remember
like,
he was-
I don't know if I would say he's top tier, but he's solid. Like, he's at the very least he's solid, but some people think he's top tier still. And
I remember in the
was
first 2
curious
months when I
about-
was playing, he seemed really good, but I don't know if they did stuff to him after that.
He was nerfed a little bit. He also
Yeah,
just
he
been power crept, I would say,
Yeah.
because of the release of characters, command dash grabs and shit.
So is it safe to say that the
yeah.
character you guys mentioned are gonna have some kind of change done to them in the next patch, or do you guys think that
I mean,
these characters should be
Yeah.
left alone and they should bring the other characters up to their level more?
well, Dave knows what I'm going to say. I think you need to nerf these fucking characters, especially like Homelander and like. I just lost my train of thought.
The fatal
Homelander for
blow,
sure
at least
needs
for
to be nerfed.
Homelander, sounds like it should be nerfed.
every
Like it
character
shouldn't
is
stay like
fatal
that.
blow.
I think
Every
Rico should be
character is fatal
nerfed
blow.
for sure. I think the character's really stupid. Because my philosophy again, going back to what I said with cameos, I think just buffing everyone doesn't work. It just makes the game stupid. Like, is that really something that's interesting? I don't
Well,
know.
There is such a thing there's stupid fun, but I would rather have stupid fun than stupid boring, like MK11.
the problem with the nerf demanders, it never stops, right? MK11 has very low power levels, except from the top, right? So why wouldn't I'm like, no, buff Kitana.
I mean, you're telling me in that game, if like fucking Fujin got nerfed and Jackie and Cabal, like it wouldn't be a better game? I think it would.
Well, I think the game, not
Nah.
necessarily. I think the game would be better if they buffed the other characters. To the problem when I play the game, I just have no tools against these jumping characters. So I'm supposed to use low auto. This idiot jumps from me a full screen away and combos me. I can't, and like, how's that fun? Like, I can't play
The
my
problem
game.
is
I
you
have
would
nothing-
have, if they did another patch from Claim, you would have to nerf Fuji and stuff because then that's the path they took. So it wouldn't make it would make the game even worse if you try to.
I don't mind people keeping their BS as long as I have my BS. And some people just can't handle it. Like, no, I don't want you to have any BS. I want to lower game. That's Cowboys' perspective, right? And
Right, but the thing is that ship sailed a long time ago. When they start nerfing a lot of characters, then the other characters have to, their time has to come as well. Otherwise,
like,
it's not fair.
You guys want your nerf games? Play MK11. Like, play that game. I like my high power levels. I want you to have your BS as long as I can have mine. And that's the way I think that's my philosophy.
Yeah, so you feel like the top tiers in the MK1 are like good design, and they should be kind of like the design of how other characters follow. Like they need to be brought up to their level because MK1 top tiers currently are how the game should be played. Like that's the enjoyable part.
I don't like the universal mechanics, but yeah, the characters. I think you can debate. Should Fujin get a couple nerfs? That's not what I'm talking. That's okay, right? But like
I'm talking about MK1 though. I'm talking about MK1.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about the low tiers now. I think Tanya definitely needs buffs.
Yeah, so actually, who are the bottom 5 in MK1? Because you usually just hear about the top tiers, you never hear about the weak characters.
Well, Quan Chi is terrible, I think.
I think Quan Chi's terrible on his own. I think with Darius he's okay. I think
he's still bad.
You can make him work because Darius Rio he buffs it, normalizes his health.
From what you told me that Quan Chi did, you were saying he's like a mix-up character. So if he is, then why not play one of the top tier mix-up characters already?
No, because I still like for MK1 standards, his zoning is okay. Like obviously it can be better. And guess what? He has armor when he has the portal. It's kind of like the MKX stuff. The reason he's not like strong is because he has just too many weaknesses in a game that's very offensive, right? Like he has low health, he has shit pokes, he has shit armor. Now he has a good wake. He has terrible wake up right, unless you pick Darius. So when you pick Darius, you kind of get rid of some of those weaknesses. Like he gets more HP. Now you have the best wake up attack in the game. You have more mix with Darius, right? So it kind of like there's quote unquote it patches some of its
Yeah,
weaknesses.
so you're saying like he's bottom tier, but he's playable if you go with Darius.
Yeah, I generally believe that. I've been using him like he's my I've been using Quan Chi and Havoc the most. I use Quan Chi with Darius and with Havoc I use Striker. Obviously Havoc's top tier, there's no debate about that. I do think Quan Chi with Darius is okay. When you don't have Darius, you're just gonna get mauled. I mean, Cage is gonna get in and you're just gonna get destroyed. Like you can't low poke, he punishes you. When you get knocked down, you have no options. Like okay, and obviously your zoning is not good enough, especially because Johnny Cage is really, really fast like movement. It's almost it feels like MK9 to me. So And you need to pick Darius, man. Like otherwise, you have no health.
I kind of get what you mean because in the beginning when I was playing Havoc, I felt like if I wasn't using Cyrax, the character just felt awful compared to the people I was fighting. Like I was playing against Baraka and Cyrax and people choosing, all these like meta characters back then. It was just like, without Cyrax, Havoc just feels awful.
Yeah. So is he like now top tier because of Dart? No, right? Because he has too many weaknesses, and I think I would buff him. I would give him like 2 or 3 more buffs for sure. I don't have the top of my head. We can maybe talk about that a little bit later here, but I think Tanya, Quan Chi, I don't think is low tier. I honestly, offline man, maybe I hate to say this, maybe Sub-Zero. What do you guys think?
I don't think that's I think that's valid.
Cowboy.
I mean, you know how I feel about this. I think Sub-Zero is downplayed for sure.
Is there a cameo that makes him good, like with the Quan Chi thing?
Chameleon.
Or
100%.
There is.
Chameleon.
Yeah, Chameleon.
That's
Then
literally everything.
Then he gets.
Why does Chameleon make him good? Like, what does she do exactly for him?
Okay. Do you know what Chameleon does?
Yeah, you can cycle between Katana, Jade, and Melina, and I think Melina gives you the overhead. Jade gives you the glaive. I forgot what Katana gives you.
Yeah. So basically, he can if he has Jade, he can basically just auto footsie. Like you can't do shit. You can't poke back. He can just throw out the glaive.
Wait, so he can do down one glaive, and that's a real thing? You can't down one?
No. I mean, just in neutral. He can do it off of certain strings. He has that. And then with Melina, he has legitimate 50-50, like 100%, because he has the low and then, the overhead.
Okay, that seems pretty good.
And then her side move covers the air. Katana makes his slide launch, and it can also make it safe depending on the timing of it. So he can get in
really
whenever
good.
he wants.
Launching slide.
I will say that his mix game plan if you're dedicating to mixing your opponent with that team, it is at least do or die. He can't cover his mix ups and make
that's
safe
true
with her.
But the other thing, we haven't even.
I think that kind of holds him back. I was about to say, I think that's like the one downside with that team that other characters don't always have that downside with their cameos and their mix ups.
I was just gonna say,
go ahead,
even that's if he chooses to go in, which like against like Quan Chi, he'll be doing that. But he's also extremely good at laming out. Like he has the clone, he has the shoulder, which is a very good footsie tool. He has a dive kick, which basically that's a guess
best things. Yeah,
within itself, he can empty jump, he can do a normal jump, or he can do the dive kick. He makes the dive kick very safe.
One of the best in the game. His down one is amazing.
Down one is ridiculous.
Well, that's why
they have the ice extending from his down one has like extra range on it.
Yeah, the ice,
kind of
it has like a blast.
That's why this game is amazing. At least its balances. All these characters sound good. Do you know why? Because the power levels are high. Like,
well, I was going to say this. This seems like the only good case that the cameo seems good for the game is these bottom tiers you guys are mentioning. There's a cameo that makes him seem like a good character. That's so far the only net positive I see.
If you fight a really good Tanya, dude, you're gonna sweat. Like they can make her work with certain cameos.
Who is the cameo for her? Because you said for Quan Chi it's Darius, Sub-Zero it's Chameleon. Who's the one that makes her seem like not a terrible character?
I think Motaro was really strong with her.
Yeah, Motaro is because then they do the strings into the tail, then they jail you, and they just kind of loop you, and then they go for a throw. It's is it like amazing? No, but is it good? Hell yeah, it's good. Like, and I would say the same thing about another character. For example, Shang Tsung is just for how hard you have to work.
Is he bottom 5 as well?
I would put him there just because of how hard you have to work. Like you have to work so hard. You look at like a player like Wraith, dude. He's doing all these. He's like turning into people like he knows the character better than they do. Like it's just like this is crazy, right? Like, but would you put in all this work when you can just pick Homelander? No, you wouldn't, right?
Yeah. See, the problem. I feel like ever since MK11, they've been trying to make Shang not be that good. Do you guys remember in MK11 when they used this? They used this nerf as a fix, though. They were like, we fix Soul Steel, giving you extra damage for next round. That like Shang always kind of did that.
Intentional. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they put it like that's a huge nerf. Is that nerf still in this game, where if you Soul Steel, you don't have any extra damage the next round?
That's right. Yep.
Because a big part of Shang's game is I remember they would intentionally try to end a combo Soul Steel and time it perfectly so that they would still get the combo win on you, but then get the Soul Steel, so it'd be stronger for the next round. Why remove stuff like that? Stuff like that makes characters interesting. Is that broken? No. So why does that have to be removed?
Yeah, that gets into something too, again, where I think kind of relates to the buff everyone is like a stupid mentality because yeah, like you buff certain characters or you let them be good, but then for certain characters for some bizarre reason like Shang and Quan, they just make sure to build in like huge weaknesses. So it's like you
Well,
can't
we
do
know
that
those reasons. We know
when you're
those
just
I
letting
reasons.
other
think,
characters
in
do
my
whatever they
opinion, if
want.
you're gonna do buff everybody, it has to be in a way where it takes skill. You cannot be giving everybody these Homelander command dashes where they come in and do a mix up. That would just make the game feel worse to play.
Yeah, I think even if a game has a high or low power level, that's just like a design issue, not really
It depends
necessarily
really how the
of
characters design.
buff.
I don't mind
That's
strong characters if they're designed good.
that's not
Right.
really like an issue of buffing the power levels. Like that's just
Well,
bad
that's what I'm saying
design.
is you create a double standard where you do that for a lot of the cast, but then characters you don't do that for some reason just have nothing.
Yeah,
But
because that standard could exist in a lower high power level. So I don't think that's an issue of a high power level per se. That's all I'm saying.
we,
Okay.
we already know. I mean, it's not a secret. Like we already know why Shang Tsung isn't as good as Homelander, or why Tanya isn't as good as Sindel, or we already know, or why Quan Chi isn't as good as Cyrax. The reason I think is pretty obvious. And again, I don't know. I understand why Crimson runs away from this argument. Well, actually, I do understand why he runs away from this argument. I think it's pretty clear. It's that zoning fundamentally is not meant to be strong in this game, right? That's why Quan Chi is. Weakness. By the way, these weaknesses are fine to have. It's okay. Then they also need strengths, right? But then by design, you have to make his zoning a lot better. You have to, maybe do something more with his armor portal, and people would pull out their hair if they, if that, if something like that would ever get buffed. But the point is, we know the reasons. They don't want defense to be strong. They don't want zoning to be strong. That's why certain characters are by design made weaker, and some of the offensive characters, are made stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to say this regarding Shang. I'm not a fan of some of the design stuff they have in the game, like him having Catwoman claws and the Soul Steel being like he stabs you with a Harley Quinn syringe from Injustice 1. What is all that? But he has some really cool stuff. Like I really like how they made it so you can now turn into old or young when you want, and his Beta Spikes move, it looks amazing. I'm not saying it's good, but it looks really cool. Like some of the stuff they did with him is really cool. It sucks that they didn't find a way to make him better than how he sounds now, where he's like bottom 5.
That move is like the basis of his game plan, I would say. You
Yeah,
run away
I
with
remember.
it.
I remember when I
You do
saw
it
him
off
in the
of
beginning.
pokes.
I'm like, wow, this is a creative, cool move. It's literally his fatality from UMK3, but they turned it into a special move. That's actually badass.
Right.
Whenever you see that, and I love the sound effect on it too.
Mhm.
So, what else would you guys say besides from Shang and Sub-Zero, Tanya, and Quan Chi? Like, who are the characters that you think would need help and need to get buffed? Like, that are low tier.
I think Peacemaker as well.
I know you think that, yes. Yeah, he's probably down there. I would also say, like, I think Lee May isn't very good. I think she's another character where it's like, she does good damage, but she's essentially just a footsie character. That's really it. And that's just not going to cut it in this game.
Well, one comment that I have to make is that if Lime could have the damage and Kung Lao's like low hat, she would be S tier easily, right? But that's because her projectile is not strong enough. It's very easy to flawless block.
It's pretty
Right,
good, but yeah.
the problem is like it's something you can flawless block every single time, right? Because there's no variation, right? And
You don't have to flawless block it, you duck it.
no, exactly. But like just for the head, right? Because it's like, why wouldn't you? So easy. The point
Is
is,
the X1 not
honestly,
a mid for your projectile?
Not, no.
no, it's
Yeah, it
not.
just launches on hit.
Yeah, it's kind of mostly.
I think it's also 0 on block up close.
Yeah, it might be. The point, honestly, for this game, you don't need a tier list. Like, I'll tell you the tier list. Basically, look, the characters who are the best are who have the best offense, with almost no exceptions. Right? You can maybe argue Sector, right? Like for the most part, they all have really strong offense, right? They're really, really strong. They don't even like you. Just if they're like anywhere near you, you fear for your life, right? Like Cyrax, you just like, oh my god, if I get hit, I'm gonna die, right? Homelander does the same thing, right? Literally, with him just being in Footsie's range, you're crying. It's like, oh my god, is forward 4 coming or is command 3 coming? You can't tell. And he could also shoot lasers for the hell of it. He also has lasers, which is decent. And kind of the next step would be like characters who like hit you and just absolutely destroy you, right? Like probably like Ermac has like 60% combos, right? Ghostface can with Striker just melt your health away, right? So that's probably the next step in like in the tier list. And then like as you kind of go down, these characters kind of have to actually work to kill, like Katana, right? She does a lot of damage, but she has to actually play footsies and earn an honest hit to kill you. And that kind of Lee May is the same way, right? She does a lot of damage, but her footies are not really strong, and she kind of has to earn that honest hit, right? Would you agree with that, Cowboy? And then like as you kind of go down the tier list, then like Peacemaker has really good jabs, like is a really strong jab, but doesn't really have overhead. The zoning is kind of overrated. Can't really mix you up. Has limited like throw combos. Would you, Cowboy and Frank? Would you guys agree with my assessment? I think that's kind of how the game works, right? For the most part.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I will mention one thing, which to be fair, is that if a character has some zoning and really like solid armor move, like Sector, to a lesser extent Kung Lao, then I think you can also make them work, because in footsies, like it's always a threat. You never know when going to throw it out, right? Is the armor coming or not? So even though the zoning is tuned down from previous MK games, it can still be effective in that sense. Any zoning, unless in this game, will never be strong ever. You can buff it all you want, they will never do it. It has to be supported by armor, and then the character will be good. I know some people don't like that, but that's the way the game works.
Wait, what do you mean the only way to make good zoner is if it's supported by armor? Why not just make the
There you go.
moves not be so... Okay, wait, hold on. But Dave doesn't understand. Some of the zoning moves in this game, if you want to call them that, just suck. Like, for example, why were Shang's ground skills usable for zoning in MK9? Because they were plus on block. Are they plus on block in this game? No. That's why.
Because
sometimes you don't need to have armor as a backup.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to tie everything to armor. We need to actually make NRS stray less away from armor. Like, just stop making everything be connected to armor. Make game more freedom other ways. Like, the armor stuff
they will never make
Dave, but the way
Besides,
you're putting it is like you're constricting the game. Because armor exists in the way it does, now we can't have all this because it has to be with armor. Why?
No, I'm just telling you, they will never buff zoning. Like, why? I'm not going to rant about it for 3 hours. It's completely pointless. I know they're never going to buff. Besides, even if they buff it, there's a cameo. You can literally press one button. You can't do anything for
What
5
if
seconds?
they made armor less of a factor and then did improve the zoning and other defensive aspects? Wouldn't that be the better direction to go? That's what I'm saying.
But did you just hear what I said? They're not going to buff the zoning.
But you're saying that, but Dave, you don't even know. What if they do?
Yeah. You should.
If you keep saying they're not going to do it, then they're probably going to be like, you know what? We're not going to do it because this is what people want.
This is
you shouldn't always assume that they'll never.
100%. This is not as. It's not even a assumption. It's just a fact. Dude, they
Right.
don't want to buff stuff. We know this. This. They don't want this game to play like Injustice 2. They're not going to buff the zoning. So this game works this way.
Wait. Injustice 2 had a whole host of other problems with the zoning.
You can buff zoning without it being Injustice 2 though.
Yeah, Injustice 2 was like...
It's not an extreme thing, yeah.
This game just doesn't work like that, because by definition, like when you have an assist game, how do you usually do it? Well, you do something stupid in the neutral, and then the assist covers you. There you go, you're in. Like, that's the premise of the game, right? Just Cowboy literally told you. My footsies in this game not my Cowboys. I'm speaking from on his behalf. Like, he literally told you, like, it's hard for me as a footsie player to play this game because what are people doing? They do something stupid in the neutral, then they do grenades. And
no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying how the game is now, but I have a hot take. What if they brought back an old forgotten mechanic from a previous NRS game? What if they brought back the block breaker in this game, but made it so in order to use it, you have to use a bar meter and a bar cameo. And when you do it, it pushes your opponent back half screen. Would that make or break the game? Would it be good or bad for the game?
I think it should be more costly than just one of each bar if you add that in.
Well, the thing is, I don't want it to be too much because then you're going to get kicks where it's like, I'm not using that shit. I can use my meter for other stuff. You know, so you got to.
I will say, if it was
some
2 bars,
characters would get nerfed hard, but like that, like Kenshi wouldn't like that change.
Yeah, Kenshi would be
right.
But ironically, it probably wouldn't change.
Okay, but how about this? Right? You have to give the rule some characters. If you do it to Kenshi, it resets his what's it called? His spirit. Sento. So that way it's not an easy counter. It's like they would have to put in like some safeguards in some spots, just so if they add this mechanic, it doesn't completely just delete some characters like Kenshi. That would be bad.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I do think push block should come back.
Yeah, but would it make or break the game aside from destroying Kenshi? Like, do you think it'd be better for the game have something like that, or would it just be terrible?
Well, I think it would be worse because it wouldn't change certain characters' offense at all, and it could potentially destroy others like Kenshi. For example, when Cyrex has you on the ground, she doesn't give a damn about a push block. She's going to throw you. So it would ironically make the already strong command throw. Well, obviously, it's not a command throw, because you can escape it. But like, how would it affect Reiko? He doesn't care. Like, Homelander's still going to go do the same thing. Like, it makes
no, you're right, because they would come in. You're guessing a 50-50 anyway. You don't even have the time to really push block them, because at that point, you're already guessing right. You might as well try to go for the punish.
You would have to make like
people leading cameos, though. But that would be nice. It would help people who like
the
just
leading cameos.
Well, no. I'm saying it would make it so that you can't just for free do like a sector missile or striker, and then now you're in.
Oh
It would
yeah,
at least
true.
be in
It would counter
scenario.
that actually, because now they have to
Yeah.
work their way in.
Exactly.
I think the way the game is designed, it kind of has to be this way, unfortunately, or fortunately, again, depending how you look at it. They did it. They did, maybe I think the only you could do is maybe add more of these invincible wake ups, maybe a couple more. I don't know how many. What will be balanced. I don't know. I can't play test in the game in such circumstances. Maybe do what Franco said a long time ago. Uh, do invincibility, but like as you obviously should all be unsafe. Like invincibility, like as a reversal while you're standing, that could be helpful for certain characters. So now you have to guess less, right? And if there's a gap, you can, and it's coming. You don't have to use armor. You can use your invincible cameo attack. So that's something to look at. Honestly, I don't want to change the game too much. I think zoning, yes, could be stronger, but would I like buff the crap out of it? Make it like no? I think you would ruin the game then. Like I don't, dude. I like this game. I don't want zoning to be like Injustice 2 or even anywhere close to it. I think it's unnecessary, right? I think the game has a good ratio for the most part. It needs to be better for zoning. Let's say I don't know, 65% rushdown. The rest can be zoning, right? That I'm pulling numbers out of my butt, but you kind of get the point. I think that would be okay.
Yeah, no, but Dave, I want to know like how would you change how would you make the zoning better for this next patch? Because you're saying like why it can and these issues, but how would you do it?
Well, for example, Peacemaker. I know again some people roll your eyes. He has a projectile, right? That has a lot of cooldown, which is the Eagly. I would remove the cooldown. I would reduce the cooldown by like a second or something, right? So now he gets to use that projectile is really really strong. The problem is it has a cooldown attached to it, and it's very it's kind of difficult for him to do anything once he's in the cooldown, because his regular shot is good, but it's kind of punishable depending where where he's standing. And I would also give him when he also have right now he has one of the worst wake up attacks in the game. It's a high, doesn't really do anything. It's the headbutt, right? It's a high. I would make it a mid. I know what you're thinking. Yes, they were going to use him with Motaro, and they're going to spam that move on your wake up. But they did increase its frame, so it's slower. So now it used to be 12, which was crazy. Now it's like 16. So you can still crush his armor on wake up that way. So honestly, just those two changes would I think would propel him a little bit. Would probably would maybe shoot him up like maybe a tier or two. Well, I mean, Cowboy, again, you guys play the game maybe more than. What do you think? Would those buffs be reasonable?
I think I don't like the torpedo buff. I think that would just be abusable, and then certain characters would just not be able to get around it at all.
I don't like characters that have this good up close scrubby move you could throw out and be safe like that. Right. Why not just make his zoning better so that when you get on him, you have to work your way to get to that part instead of just making him get out for free?
I think like
all you want. It's just that one buff that I showed you. It's not going to make a difference. Like the problem is his offense is not good enough. Like that's the problem.
Yeah,
and
but no, Dave, I get what you're saying. Like I 100% understand what you're saying, but I'm saying how would you make it so he's now a good character, but with zoning instead of just giving him
zoning
up close
doesn't work in this game. Any idiot can pick up Sub-Zero, and there you go. Your zoning means irrelevant. You need to accompany your zoning with some offense. It's the only way to make the characters work in this game. Why do you think the tier list, as I just described it to you?
But there's Eagly, is that considered a projectile, or is it considered like a special thing where like you can?
It's Sub-Zero counters everything, and it's just again, it's a good projectile, but you're never gonna like. The problem is if you like overbuff the zoning, you're just gonna create matchup issues. That's all you're gonna do.
Okay, but Sub-Zero only counters projectile-based zoning, right? What about other forms of zoning that aren't projectiles?
They're not afraid to overbuff rushdown, so
right.
Well, I mean, these two fools, they don't understand how the game works. Like, they think they're going to get the zoning character. Just that they're never going to do that. Trust me.
No, that's not. I'm not saying next patch is going, we're going to have zoning characters. I'm saying, how would you go about it to make MK1 have good zoning characters? You're not.
You said you don't like
you're saying, but because you gave him a change that makes him annoying up close and better. But I'm talking about the zoning only, not. Well, if you give this character 50-50 now, like, no, I'm talking about.
I'm fighting rushdown fools all the time.
Okay, how would you buff Quan Chi to make him better as a zoner? And I want to hear Cowboy on say how would he make Shang Tsung better to fit his game?
Well, Quan Chi. Again, people.
And please don't say give Quan Chi a safe wake up or more health. I mean, like something that would make his zoning better when you're zoning.
Honestly, I think Quan Chi does okay with Darius a lot of matches. What would I buff? So right now, I wouldn't buff the armor, like the startup or the frames, I would just buff it. Right now, when it hits, he's only like plus 10, right? I will buff it to make it like plus 20. So when
That
the
would be
move
good.
actually
Wait,
connects,
his stomp?
yeah,
Yeah.
it has armor, but
Okay.
it's like 25 frames phase, right? It's still be, it's still, he's on the ground. You essentially everybody can stuff his armor, right? Because it's so slow, unless they commit to like a string, right? So I will make it plus 20. So now when you hit it, you call Darius, you actually, like you can actually mix up somebody. And I forget what the other buffs, I had a couple of more. I
The
wouldn't buff the
bone dome
armor.
change.
What's that? Oh yeah, the the the
You,
the bone cage right now, it's like a move where he traps you, but when he traps you, he's like a minus 21. It doesn't really do anything, like, and when he whiffs the bone cage, dude, he's like a minus 60, something crazy, right? So the risk
Horrible. Yeah.
just doesn't match the reward, right? So he has certain moves that when you hit them, it's just like the other player's like, okay, I don't give a damn, right?
You know what?
I'm
What would have been cool? You guys remember MK Deception intro where Quan Chi summons like a wall of skeletons to block you? Why not give him stuff like
dude.
that? We could summon these like obstacles and things, and they're like interactables, and your opponent can choose how to use them, but it kind of slows them down. Like
Or
that
Rio,
would be.
you ask for better zoning, this would do it. Like
But
right
you
now,
just
the
told me
move,
Skydrop, Dave. What the hell? How does that like make your zoning better? You're doing a wake
Yeah,
up
that doesn't
move.
make zoning better.
Yeah, I'm
No,
talking about
no,
Dave.
no,
Okay, let me repeat this
no.
again. How would you make Quan Chi better as a zoner? I'm not talking. Not.
That is his zone part. Like that is the anti-zoning tool. Now if you hit that, you actually get mix-ups. That's part of his anti-zoning,
But
which means
I'm
people will
talking
zone you
about how
less.
do you make him zoning better? Not when people get in on you. Now you have a wake up.
No, dude, it's the stomp. It's also an anti-zoning tool. Like I would also give the same properties to his regular stomp, so that makes his anti-zoning
But
better.
wouldn't it be better to
Or
leave him a little bit weaker up close, but then give him like a new zoning move or something?
he wake up close, dude. He has shit pokes. Like why we want him to be this weak? Also, zoning. Speaking of the zoning, the bone cage. Something else needs to happen to it. Either much faster recovery. Not to put you can just obviously spam cages over and over again, right? But it's like if if they jump like and like to a certain like range and specific timing, I shouldn't be like full combo punish from half screen. That's crazy, right? So
Yeah.
that would buff his
3/4
zoning.
screen.
Yeah. So that would buff his zoning. And maybe I forget what other buff. I think the this requires meter the portal that kind of reflects. Either needs some kind of hitbox adjustment. Sometimes people just go through it. It's
Wait,
kind
he
of
has a
random.
projectile reflect?
Now, hold on,
No,
David. Let the Quan main talk about this. I don't know why the fuck you're going on about Quan.
okay. Okay.
Um, anyways, yes, he has a green portal. It's like I don't know if you've seen it, but basically, it's like the opponent can't like just walk through it. It keeps them out. The issue though is that I mean, yeah, in addition to just being able to straight up jump it or some moves going through it, you can just dash block through it, and it's like it's not there.
Yeah.
Really? That
So
seems like an
you spend a
oversight.
bar for them
Or
just to get in for free, essentially.
then what is the point of that move then?
Nothing. It's
Yeah,
fucking garbage.
Okay, but
it's
is it
like
supposed to be like that, or is that a glitch? Like, are they supposed to
No
block that?
idea. They've never
it's
buffed it,
just
so I assume it's what they want.
yeah, it acts kind of like MK11 Garrus's shifting sands, but it repels you instead of sucks you in.
Oh, I
That's
see what
what
you're
it's supposed
saying.
to
Yeah, so
do.
it's like it's
That's
next
what
to
it's
you, but it
supposed to
keeps
do.
pushing you backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you could block dash
It,
through it, it seems like it's kind of pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, you can do
it
things like
doesn't. Yeah.
do the low or down 4, but it's like at that point you've already spent a bar and you're not really getting anything.
Okay, what
Like a lot
about
of times the
this?
low combo will just drop
I have an
because
idea
of
on
the
how to
low.
buff that. What if that move has a special condition where if your opponent goes through it by block dashing, it shatters and now it affects him and gives them this debuff for like 8 seconds. They shatter it by block dashing through it, and now they get this debuff where their jumping is disabled and their dashing is disabled for like 6 seconds. Would that make him
Could be nice.
better?
It would help. Yeah. In terms of just his raw zoning, though, I mean, I think like Purple Portal and his just in general, all of his projectiles across the board should be buffed. I think like he has an air
I
skull that
agree.
is fucking terrible, super negative, super slow, only covers like one portion of the screen.
Even worse than the one from MKX, that air skull is pretty bad. It was like super
Oh,
negative.
it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the worst air projectiles next to like Air Skull from Young
What
Shang.
about if you EX is it at least good, or is it still
No, it's actually worse because it's slower and
No.
won't come out a lot of times.
Yeah, so like his EX Air Skull 2, it has like different angles depending on the speed you use. Like if you do the
Right.
slow one, it arcs downwards more for some reason. Regular speed is like more middle, and then the fast one arcs upwards more, so it reaches like the farthest. It has like no pushback on block. It's like not the frames on it aren't too good. The recovery's better than the meterless one, but it's still not that great. Like Sindel's air hairball is better than all those projectiles.
Yeah, Franco, you were saying earlier, how would you change Quan Chi, like if you were wanting to buff his zoning?
I think he should have like, and I'm talking about overhauling the character because like I know.
Oh, so you mean like we're changing
he,
things and then giving him new things, like removing some stuff?
Get ready for idiocy.
I want him to be more of a zoner, like he was supposed to be. Like Dave's fine with the way he plays now with the mix-ups and stuff, and whatever his current zoning is, whatever you want to say about it. But I think his purple portal projectiles should be way more rewarding. Like maybe they should drain meter on block and on hit, kind of like how Sorcerer Quan had with the purple ruin. I think orange portal should make it to where it negates the effects of flawless block instead of giving him the armor when you
that's
have
pretty
it near
creative,
your
not flawless block.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest issues for zoners is
that's a good idea.
Negates the chip damage and I would make his poke like his down one like one less frame. Like I would make it -9 instead of -10, but still keep it super slow startup, just to super slightly help with his lack of defense, and fix green portals like dash blocking issue. Maybe add some frames to it so it lasts longer. The bone dome change that Mario said. Make EX Tentacle 1 bar, but make it a mid instead of a low because it's like way too costly and it scales really bad damage wise. And I would make his boot stomp like the portal kick. I'd make it a mid, but make it track in front instead of behind the opponent because that move.
Rio, that kick alone would destroy certain characters. This is exactly what I mean. You don't let these.
What do you mean destroy certain characters and they can't play against them, or?
Dude, right, if you make that kick track, it's a kick that comes out of a portal, right? And if you make it track, he's gonna annihilate certain.
But you're saying it's like the kick from MKX, but instead of you being able to avoid it,
yeah, exactly. He wants it to track, so if it knocks down and tracks, so what that means is like characters like Sector, Kung Lao, to a lesser extent like others, who don't have the best mix-ups, right? Like Li Mei, Peacemaker, they're gonna get annihilated because
but in my case, Quan Chi's would be a mid again. I wouldn't make it like I wouldn't keep it.
Doesn't matter, even if it doesn't matter. So what that means is if they right now like the way Kung Lao, Sector, Li Mei, they kind of the way they can fight Quan Chi is by because you're gonna exchange zoning if they have a life lead, right? Like that's what because they don't have the best mix-ups, right? Sector doesn't have the best mix-ups. Kung Lao does, but not it's not like impressive. So that change alone, like, because now they cannot contest anymore in the neutral, in the footsies, or anywhere else on the screen. They would just get annihilated, right?
That's a lie. That's a lie.
No, that's not a lie.
Up close, they're better than him. Like, yeah, from afar, they're worse. Like in
Sector's not that great.
Sector is good at both against.
Does Sector not have a fast armor launcher? Like, or did they change that?
No. Dude, trust me, that matchup is already real. That matchup is already 5-5. Don't let these idiots.
No, I don't agree with that. Li Mei, Kung Lao, they have better rush down than Quan. Like they can get in on Quan and
Li Mei would get destroyed. Like she would get annihilated, completely annihilated.
He literally can't press a fucking button when she gets in, dude. Like, what are you talking about? You can't. She's so plus on some of her things that she essentially gets to like mini block Infinite You. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
dude, I ran the fastest Quan Chi Darius that I did with Kung Lao and Sector. Stop downplaying, you pieces of shit. I'm sick and tired of this downplay. The character doesn't suck. You guys suck because you don't use armor. Use armor.
No. We're talking about how to make him a better zoner, though, not playing.
Yeah, I think what Franco's saying is not keep all his mix-ups and stuff now and then give him all that zoning. He's saying like to remove some of them and then.
Tool that like tracks anywhere. What is this from the deep garbage? I thought you guys.
Yeah, so I want to say this. I was going to comment on that. I think instead of giving him a brain dead tracking kick, why not just make it so you give him 6 different versions of the kick, and you have to guess between very close, medium, far, very far, and full screen. Like that way, you have to do a little skill management.
I would take
because we need less like of the tracking, the auto tracking, auto shit.
You asked him this is like that. We asking from the deep. Like, really, this is your zoning? Like, we just had that in previous games. Everybody was crying
it's not
about
as bad as from the deep because you can combo from the deep at the very least.
I know, but
Yeah,
even
as long as it properly tracks, I would be okay with that change. But as it is currently, it's just a mix-up tool because it's overhead now. Pre-patch, it was just a mid that would just always whiff, and it was useless. So
Yeah, same thing in MKX. That move sucked in MKX. People would always be running or jumping and it would whiff. So it was
I've
like,
said that like about MKX2 actually. Like that's NRS just never does these goddamn portal moves
yeah, all
correctly.
they had to
And
do
that's
to
why like
yeah,
Necromancer was garbage because
that
it just
too,
doesn't
yeah.
track properly.
I remember we were telling in the beta, we were like, hey man, some of these moves you can summon. We were like, why don't you add like for Shinnok, you could do a front summon or back summon. That way we can kind of pick because right now it just tracks where they're at. And the same thing was the issue with MKX Quan Chi's. You would do the kick, but you couldn't control it. So if I want to do like a kick in front of them, because I know they're gonna run forward, you don't have the option. So the move is almost like I never want to use it because it's you can't really control it at all. It's like so limited.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
Stand
these
4 is the same thing.
yeah, like for these moves, I think instead of making them auto track better where you can't escape them, just make it so you have 4 or 5 different versions and you choose your range. That way you have full control of it and you're making reads instead of just, like from the deep thing that Dave said.
Right.
yeah,
Read
and
what
there's
they're
also
also
like very like. Oh, I'm sorry.
what they're also not telling you. If you had the game, if you press 3, low key, that's one of the most underrated footies in the game because it's like a tongue that comes out, whatever the
3?
hell it is.
Like standing
Yeah,
3?
Yeah, stand 3.
Yeah, stand 3. It's like a tongue, whatever that move is one of the best like mid-range anti-airs in the game easily. And it's also a great whiff punishing tool, even though it's a high. So if somebody like whiffs something in a neutral, because you'll be walking back a lot with Quan Chi, and then when you press up, it's a launcher. And then you can obviously when you launch them, you can do a hard to blockable with Darius. Um, essentially you cannot end the round because Quan Chi doesn't do a lot of damage, but you can like severely then you could put out the armor portal, etc., right? There's a player by the name of Rothor. He was not at the Final Combat. If you watch his matches, you will be impressed at what he does. I think he just like loses to certain bad matchups like Homelander, right, and whatever, maybe Reiko.
Smoke.
But the way he plays,
Melina.
he makes really the character work. That's why I don't believe in these overhauls and these 20 changes. That's just complete nonsense. You're just gonna ruin the game and you're gonna get him nerfed like Havoc got nerfed. So you're gonna do a lot of these changes, just like with Havoc. He got like 5 crazy buffs. And what's been happening to the character? He's been getting nerfed over and over and over.
That
and over
also
and over
looks
again.
very bad for the game. When a character gets buffed, then it's like, oops, we got to nerf them now. But that just waste a resource. Like, why buff them to that point? If you have to waste the next 10 patches nerfing him, like, then what was the point of buffing him that much?
So I am
My
all for
thing
buffs,
is,
but I'm all for reasonable buffs. We don't need Quan Chi doesn't need like 10 buffs.
Yeah, well, I mean,
My
I don't
thing
agree with the
is,
tracking
like-
kick. That's a little too brain dead. But
so my thing is overhauling Quan Chi and like changing him would take more effort than balancing some other characters. So like if NRS wants to put the effort in to Quan Chi specifically, it can be done. It's just going to be a little harder. And if we are on our last patch, I don't think one patch is going to be enough patches to find a healthy medium ground or middle ground for him, assuming that you did want to make him a zoner.
Well, let me
Unfortunately,
just
it's just like every other NRS game where not enough patches and it's kind of late with where the game is right now. But that's
let me
that was
just
a
say-
hypothetical changes
well, ironically,
conversation.
your buffs, aside from the thing that the tracks, that would make Quan Chi worse than he is now. So he would literally be a zoner with no mix-ups, which is exactly how when I watched you and Cowboy play. Right? Remember when I gave you a ride to the airport? You guys were playing for 4 hours. I was like, dozing off in the background. The reason Quan Chi was bad, especially pre-patch, because you would put the portal out, Rio, right? And Quan Chi's obviously his strength
you're
sucks.
talking about the armor portal, right?
Correct. So if you're really strong defensively, like Franco is, he would essentially like make Cowboy throw him. He would either escape or he would break the throw, right? And then Quan Chi got really like had limited like offensive options, right? Even within the portal, right? If you're a really strong player like defensive, like Franco was and still is. Now, since he has that overhead, and if you're stuck in a portal, like you have to guess low, overhead, or even throw, right? And all those options, Darius comes out and forces a 50-50 on you. So and a harder blockable. So now that's why the character works. Again, the character pretty much has everything. It's just that he has 1 or 2 too many weaknesses now that are probably not justified. again, it's a cameo-based game. I know it's just Darius, so there's really no point in complaining. Once you just maybe get rid of something, again, maybe like 2 or 3 buffs, he can be really, really strong and he can be top tier. And none of it is brain dead, like giving him etc. from the deep.
Yeah, the way you're explaining Quan
So-
sounds like MK Sorcerer with the portal. Even in that game, if Quan Chi didn't have those 50-50s, nobody would care about him having armor because they would just block.
Well, buffing his zoning, unless it's like super scrappy, which again wouldn't change his matchups against the top tier anyway, because they're just gonna get in, they're gonna mix him up. Wouldn't really change anything. He would just destroy a lot of the mid-tier characters, which is what they want. But why would you want that? Just makes the game dumb.
And this is obviously not being said, but obviously I wouldn't only buff Quan. I would buff any other character that needs buffs too. Obviously, we're not buffing
Buff
Quan in a
Geras,
vacuum.
that's insanity. Like Gears doesn't
Yeah,
need
that's
buff.
stupid. That needs to end.
That's a matter.
Wait,
Doesn't matter.
I thought
That's
Gears
a-
was
that's a matter
considered a
of-
good character. Is he
He's
considered
really
bad?
good.
No, yeah,
Very good.
no. I
Only
think
by
he's a
Geras
good
players.
character. He's not top 10, but he's still good.
He could definitely be top 10, 100%. That character doesn't
It's
play
debatable.
the game most of the time.
It's debatable, but yeah, he's not like this. Like again, that shows how balanced the roster is. You can debate Garrus being in top 10. You can debate him not being in top 10, like in my position. But I think non-Garrus players usually are the ones that aren't too understanding of the ones that do say he isn't top 10, like myself. Demoralize. A lot of people like Wraith have like a Garrus issue, or who's the guy that runs Demon Lobby? Like he says he's top 3 sometimes, or he might have said that as a joke, but he does play Garrus too, the host of Demon Lobby. But anyways, even if characters are good, like I would still give them like quality of life changes in some departments. Like Garrus definitely needs some quality of life changes. Like why are normals and strings -2 on hit? Like it's just it's just common sense. Like that's just like why would that be negative on hit? That's like a very minor thing, but.
Well, I guess it depends. Are you talking about his forward 1-2 or 1-1 where he summons the wall from half screen that hits you? Is that -2? Or is it like up close jabs, like up close down 1? Because that'd be kind of dumb if it's up close down 1 or something.
His forward 2 and forward 2-4 -2 on hit, but that wall string did used to be negative on hit to where it was actually punishable if you got hit by it.
Yeah, like I could see some moves being negative on hit like that, like the wall thing, because you're doing it from so far. But if it's like a poke or something up close that's just minus, then it kind of defeats the purpose of using that move, really.
But my thing too, like I always argue with Dave about this, is whether you want Quan Chi to be this rushdown character he is now, or a zoner like me, that's just up to the developer at that point. And you could make him a zoner if you want. It just would take a lot of work. Buffing other characters would be easier than buffing Quan. Quan's a little bit more difficult to actually make like an interesting zoner if you want him to play that way.
Yeah, seems like the path they've taken with Quan is to make him more of a mix-up 50-50 character with some zoning elements, rather than a pure zoner with some 50-50 elements.
It doesn't matter how much they buff zoning again, as I keep saying, unless it's like really, really strong, then it essentially is gonna perform okayish, possibly still lose against the top tier. He's gonna destroy the mid tiers because those characters are not the ones that they have any strong mix-ups. And you're just gonna turn, I think, in my opinion, a somewhat interesting character into like very boring meta destroying character who doesn't really do anything. That's essentially what Peacemaker was. Yes, Peacemaker, like the top tiers fought him very well because they have the best mix-ups, but all the mid tiers got absolutely annihilated because he would just run away. They get in, they don't have enough offense. Like this game's offense, even though Rio's right, it has certain MKX aspects. It's not MKX. It just isn't. It's not MKX because not everybody has a run button and not everybody has a 50-50 mix-up. That's the difference.
Yeah, so I want to hear from Cowboy. How would you buff Shang? And I guess you guys can also chime in too.
I don't know, man. He just doesn't fit into the game like at all. And obviously, the easy option would be like giving him an actual mix-up, because right now, essentially, all he does is like poke spikes, right? Poke
and
spikes.
he has that super slow overhead that doesn't even give a combo.
Yeah,
it's like Melina's overhead from MK9, but doesn't launch. That's what it looks like.
Right. I would say give him some sort of mix-up that is meaningful. That's really the main thing. Because his main issue is that I think his footsies are just really weak. Like he has the ground skull or the skulls, right? But they're not really that great, and of course are just straight up countered by like Sub-Zero.
Yeah, they're not good in neutral like they were in MK9 with Shane.
No, not at all. Not at all. So
Why
I
don't
think
they
giving
bring?
him
Does he have his up skull in this game? I forget. The one where he throws skull in the air
From
and
the-
it comes down.
from the ceiling? No, he does not.
He doesn't have that. Why
Nope.
don't they give him that? That'd be a good starting point.
It helps. Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I think
I'm surprised he doesn't have that. Because you would think he could morph into both Shangs. He'd have that move.
Right. You would. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was about to say, I use like most of the roster. My Shang changes like just off rip, like quick ones. Like I think his up skull, like in old Shang, you should have the option to choose whether you want the opponent launched towards you or away from you because it's super annoying.
Wait. He does have the up skull or not? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
He's
No,
the ground skull.
ground. I should say ground skull. Ground
Oh,
skull.
okay,
sorry.
okay. I thought for a second the old Shang had the up skull and the young one doesn't.
So ground skull is like a variable launcher depending on how the opponent's positioned and where it lands. It can sometimes launch towards you or away from you, and it's hard to hit confirm it on reaction on the spot because you don't always know how it's going to launch. So it's a lot of wasted damage you could have if you just knew where it was going to launch. So they should make it to where you can manually input like by holding the square button or the one input whether you want to launch towards or away from you. That's just one. That's like a quality of life thing.
Mm-hmm.
Young Shang, I think, should play more like a zoner with the straight skulls. Like aerial skull and Young Shang is useless. It like arcs upwards for some reason instead of like downwards, which it literally goes away from the opponent. It makes no sense. Like he should have like an angled downwards air skull. He should have like I think Beta Spike should linger on the ground for way longer and like be like a trap, almost like Bone Dome in a sense, but instead of trying to trap your opponent in the Bone Dome like Quan, Beta Spikes could be left on the ground to create an obstacle, almost like Lex Luthor-esque. And then like he could throw the straight skulls, or if he thinks you're gonna jump, he could throw an aerial skull. Like, and he should have like a ceiling skull, like in MK9, like in Young Shang. That'd be cool as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Cowboy?
I'd be for that. I think too. Like now, he actually. I don't know if you know this, but he does have something that is legitimately like broken that should be removed. He can do like 80-90% resets with Goro. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, are you talking about like Wraith related kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like Hell Stomp.
Like I don't know if you've seen that, but basically, yeah, Shang can actually do that, and it takes
So wait,
most
he
of your
can
health.
combo
obviously.
after the Goro stomp?
Yeah, well, yeah. Basically, the way it works is you like hit the morph move, which costs 2 bars, right? And then you can time it such that like the stomp hits them, and then while you're morphed, you are able to pick up the launch, basically. And there's nothing they can do.
Do you know what this reminds
right?
me of? When Imposter Shinnok had those 100% combos on Jax when he would steal his ground pound and he'd be
Oh, that's
you'd
right.
be plus
Yeah,
50 and you would
it is
launch him.
kinda
It's
similar.
like, yeah, but I guess this is not as easy, I would assume.
This
Yeah,
thing's
it's
way
pretty
more
hard.
execution. It's like
It's
Wraith
hard.
actually landed it in tournament, but then he dropped like the easier part against Javier, was it? Right? He did like a
Yeah.
fatal
Yeah.
blow ender and it dropped.
I guess the
Yeah.
best
He
way
easily
to
could have won that moment, but
guess-
he just did the wrong route.
I guess the best way to fix it is because Shang is weak, just to keep it, but make it so you're not getting like 90% off of it.
Well, I was gonna say it's clearly not something they intend. I don't think they probably just let him keep it because he's so fucking weak overall.
Yeah, it just sounds like the Imposter Shinnok oversight with some characters.
I would say that definitely needs to go. But then that move where you morph into the opponent shouldn't cost 2 bars. That's actually another
Wait.
problem.
It takes 2 bars to morph into, and you get what, one random attack, or can you choose the attack you do?
Well, no, you can do. I mean, you're just the opponent. You can do whatever you want. But like to hit,
You're the opponent. You
Wait,
morph
it takes
into
2 bars to
per
morph into
character.
him, though?
if you do the EX injection, yes, it costs 2.
You get a
What?
damage boost with it too, but
Yeah.
it's
I
2
thought
bars.
so you can't even morph into them without meter? You have to use the 2 bars?
You can do it like just in neutral, like using 1 bar. But yeah, the setup that you do to end combos takes 2, which is, I mean, terrible.
Why is that
right?
so meter intensive? Is it that broken where
I
you
know. 'Cause they're
I
just
do
scared of
think it's
Shang.
warranted because of Goro, but if you remove the Goro combos and resets, then yeah, make it 1
That's what I'm
bar.
saying. That obviously should not be in the game where you're eating like 80 to 90%. I don't think that's ever good. So that needs to go. But then, yeah, as a payoff, make it so it's 1 bar.
You trying to say smoke resets weren't good in MK9?
I was gonna
What do
say
you
that
mean?
sounds like some MK9
No, I'm
combo
kidding. I'm
resets.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I say, yeah, I don't support that either. Yeah.
Yeah, those would
But
be some
yeah.
cool changes to Shang.
Some quality of life. I think giving him mix would make him like more relevant. Yeah.
What about you,
Oh
Dave?
my
Do you have
God,
anything to comment on regarding Shang?
One more thing about Shang though. This quality of life thing, I can't stand this. The input errors you get off his down forward 4, which is later added in after the game like had a few patches. He has this move where he does a move like his cameo steal move should be buffed like a lot. A lot of them are so bad.
Horrible.
And the input window, like the input errors you get from that move, at least I get because I press my button so fast and I need to play on short input timing. Otherwise, I'm going to get shit on accident. For some reason, that special move has way too much leniency in executing the special move. So, like, I'll be crouching for like 5 seconds straight, blocking some long-ass block string. I try to do my mid-forward 4 from a 5-second crouch blocking state, and I get that stupid-ass morph move, and it's usually a useless move that doesn't help or do anything good. So, a lot of his cameo moves should be, like, his cameo steal should be better, and that input window should be lessened a lot to prevent that input error with from coming from crouch block.
Yeah, honestly, I don't understand why they wasted time and resources putting that in the game. Like,
it was such a cool idea, though. It was such a cool idea.
I mean, I guarantee you that's how they justified. Oh, look, isn't that cool? But it's like it doesn't do anything. So who gives a fuck?
It needs to do something, man. It needs to do something.
Yeah, this is my least favorite version of Shang. I think absolutely no fun to play and has no strength, really.
Honestly, in gameplay wise, like obviously MK1's very slow paced, and I'll let you respond in a second, Dave. I'm sorry, I know we cut you off, but conceptually with the morphing and stuff, I think this is the best Shang design. Like conceptually, in execution, not so good. But like I love how they're trying to implement the morphs like more than ever. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I think I'm not a fan of the Shang in MK1. I think from the Catwoman claws to the syringe slow steel thing to just how the character looks and feels is not good. But the whole idea of him turning old or young when you want and the bed of spikes and things like that is super cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I agree with Cowboy about removing the reset, but compensating him in other ways. I think Franco touched upon it. He has these. This was added late. Like he can do a special move that he steals from your cameo, but a lot of those moves are garbage.
Just saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, like couple ones are good. I think if you steal Ferritor, you get the command grab, right? So that's actually good, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. So it's kind of difficult to balance, like if you give him something like that in every matchup, then obviously he's going to be a lot better. But is it good? Is it fun to play against? I don't know. But I feel like certain ones are so useless. It's like I think you steal Motaro's teleport, but like the teleport is like 5 times worse. Like
yeah,
it's like I think it's slower, and the recovery frames are so long. It's hilariously bad. So I maybe look into that.
It should be you steal one of their moves and it's better than originally is by a little bit instead of being worse.
Some of them are.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. That's how I think it should be for all of them.
Yeah, but right now some moves are like why they're worse that makes no sense. So that should be looked. And I agree with the aerial fireball for Young, right? Like
atrocious.
That the way it arcs, just like why? What? Like that doesn't even make any sense. I'm not saying it has to be a katana aerial fireball, but I feel like that move should be better. And honestly, if this overhead just knocks down, right? Maybe looking to make it slightly faster. I don't know how fast it is right now. At least maybe make it faster.
Slow. It's like close to 30 frames, I think.
Yeah, so that maybe should be faster. So I think he's easier to balance the Quan Chi because Quan Chi can be controversial, right, with the armor and stuff. Whereas I think the best thing about him is he does have safe armor when he picks Goro and can use that, to launch you and be safe, if not even slightly plus. So, and I think I would also buff Goro, like reduce the cooldowns on the, not by like too much, but on the up punches. That would also, I think, be a huge buff for him because he really wants to use Goro, for his armor and, like in pressure, whatever, to stay safe. So I think that's what I would do.
Yeah. So real quick before we wrap up here, I just want to ask one last question. When do you guys think if we're getting another patch, we're going to get it? Do you think it's going to be coming next month, December? Like, when do you guys think the time frame may be?
23 days. So the Combat League season ends.
Oh, yeah, that's smart, actually. So the day after the Combat League season. Wow, so 23 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I guess now's a good time to wrap it up. Do you guys have any closing statements you guys want to make?
Well, Cabo, you're the guest. The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, I just want to say I think the game they could definitely do better with it right now. It's disappointing. Final Combat was as poor as it was, but I think there's still hope. Like I really do believe they'll do another patch. So I just hope that they, really kind of listen to the right people and hone in on exactly what people want out of the game. And I think that would be, it would make the game a lot better.
Branko, what about you?
Yeah, I think I really hope there's more than one patch, but that is very hopeful on my part. I like MK1. It's not my very first all-time favorite NRS game, but I would have liked to have kept playing it and wish I got like longer support and stuff. But yeah, I hope to see a few more patches, and if we only get one more, I hope it's awesome. And I just really hope that going forward, NRS decides like how they want their games to be and stop overhauling and re-spinning the wheel with every game that comes out, and just stick to what works, whether that be story, gameplay, game modes, stuff like that. So I just really hope going forward we can have the next game be supported for way longer. That way we can keep fine-tuning it over time and keep playing it, have more than 2 pro comp seasons.
Well said, Dave.
Again, I'm enjoying the game. More buffs, please. More new moves. I want to see as limited, as limited nerfs as possible.
More armor.
More armor, more invincibility. Well, again, I wouldn't mind seeing more armor as long as like the Kung Lao type of armor, unless I'm just gonna do every round I'm gonna spend like 15 armors in your face. Less of that, please. But maybe for 2 bars for certain characters, maybe even Shang could work. For some to make defense slightly better, I would support it.
Yeah, and I'm not
Beautiful.
just saying this to say it, but when the last patch does come out, I am actually going to try the game again to see, how different things are now than back when I played it. Who knows? Maybe I'll like it. We'll see what they do. I want to thank you to Cowboy for coming on, Dave and Franco as well. Franco, did you want to say something?
I was just about to ask you if you tried Noob at all yet, since you.
No, I haven't tried the game since first 2 months. So Noob is DLC. I haven't tried. I haven't gotten to try any of the DLC characters, any of the DLC cameos, or any of the balance patches. So when I get back into the game, when this last patch comes out, it's going to be probably very different than how I remember, or at least hopefully.
Yeah, but I don't know what kind of play style you enjoy playing now, but he's my favorite iteration of Noob.
I don't know. I guess I would just mess around with the cast, see who I find first. Because in MK11, when Aaron got nerfed, I had a character crisis until I ended up playing Melina for the last 5 months. So, and I never thought I was going to be a Melina player, but that's how it just turned out. So we'll see when I'll just do a quick view. Because it's funny, I bought the full edition and I have all these stuff. I just never reinstalled it to install that, but I do have all that stuff. Funny enough.
Yeah, I hope there's a character you enjoy playing then. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be one I'll find and mess around with. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Noob or whatever. But yeah, so this was episode 41. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with any of this. And how do you guys feel the E-League was? What do you guys are thinking of in the next patch? When do you guys think we're going to get it? And do you guys think that they're going to do a bit of an overhaul, or are they just going to do a safe patch? See you guys next episode.